I know I said you'd have fitted in no problem with the Tuesday game, but it ended up they embraced the silliness from the get go. So I was like, oh, Drag would not like this.
Yeah, I could tell that when they were talking, I was like, I don't think this is gonna be for me. I was like,
Well, I mean, see, Bird, I actually would like Bird in this game because you played with Bird. He's quite quiet and fairly serious when he plays his character.
right.
But Swindle can like slot into any game. He can be serious, he can be funny, all that kind of stuff. But because Stokes came in and she was like, I want a hellhound called Mango Tango, and that was like the first thing that she dropped, and I was like, okay, that's the direction she's going. And then
Mango,
Swindle,
mango.
jumped in that, and he was, the silliness. So I was like, okay, we're going that direction.
Yeah, I I mean they might not have, but when I was just like I was reading the chat they had before I like joined in, I was like, oh hell no. I was like, no, I don't mind silly games. I'm just not in the mindset right now for
No,
silly.
totally. I don't like silly campaigns, really. But
Yeah,
I
I'm
mean,
I'm
that
more
is
okay
also.
with the
Sorry.
no. Go ahead. I'm more okay with a one shot being silly, like than a
Yeah, one
campaign.
shots are fine because you're in the mood for it and then you do it. But that's once every 2 weeks, so it's quite spaced out anyway.
Well, best of luck to you and them.
The only thing I was thinking, because I've got the same as this one, where your progress is tied to fleshing out your character's background as you go along and revealing it to other players. And I
Right.
was like, well, this actually makes it quite challenging as a GM though, because I don't know anything about the characters to begin with to incorporate their backstories into the story.
Right.
I mean, I know games like Dungeon World, you're kind of doing that anyway, but the way we usually play it, a lot of people kind of come in with a background and idea for the character anyway.
Yeah, dedicated. They already have an idea, like what they've
Yeah,
been
yeah.
through.
But this one, they're just teasing it like we do in this one. Just like once every session or once every couple of sessions, they're dropping something to kind of incorporate in. So it's an interesting kind of challenge. But what you would have liked about that one, which I did do, was you've got like a harm track, and when your harm fills up, you take an injury, and that could be like missing a limb or something like that. And you can't heal the harm; you can only heal the injuries once you've taken them. So in the trauma conditions, you can like paranoid that kind of shit.
Like, but if an injury is like losing a limb, then how do you heal that? Or did I get that backwards? Injury
Well,
builds up, and then
they wouldn't get the limb back, but you're treating the injury. Do you know what I mean? So you're stopping it from like bleeding, so they bleed out.
so you what? So then your harm tracker would reset to 0.
The harm track resets when you take an injury,
Right.
because harm's more kind of like fatigue almost. It's the amount of abuse you can take before you sustain like a serious injury. But once you get an injury, you've got an injury. But if they got like spells or something like that, they can like magic heal them. How you doing, Tink?
Not too bad. Just getting things loaded up here. Everything's working this time.
Yeah, your mic's a bit clearer this time. Oh, because you're not on your phone, obviously. How about you, Alex? How you been?
I've been doing good, but I'm house sitting, and for some reason the Wi-Fi decided that it wanted to. The Wi-Fi company just disconnected the Wi-Fi, so I'm just playing through my phone right now.
Right. Have you got your sheet and everything?
Yeah, it's on my computer still.
Okay. You're always fucking house sitting for people, man. Are you like
Yeah, I get paid money just to stay at people's houses, not really do anything.
I was saying this to my wife the other day. It's really weird because obviously America, it's quite normal for you to have like a second job or something else to do for the extra money as well as like a main job because you're a teacher, right? People do that.
Yeah, and
That
everyone
doesn't.
knows teachers aren't paid well enough.
Well, teachers don't get paid well here either, but they don't work second jobs. It's not that bad.
Oh no, I have enough money for my regular job. This is just for when I want to buy big things.
Right. You're all just like money hungry capitalists.
Yeah,
The secret bank account somewhere hidden.
Wow.
Well, I mean, there was one I set up for the school, but I can't remember how to log into it.
So it's very secret. I'll stop eating mints in a second and we have to start.
All right, I just got a message that said it should be back up in like 15 minutes.
Sure.
So I'll have clearer sound then.
So last time, Drac, they just made it to the old mine town, and I think you were there when it actually happened. But you got the flu. You started like having a fever and stuff. So they left you wrapped up in bed. I think is it Runic? Runic gave you like a broth to try and help with it.
Okay.
But you were out of that session because you had the flu, and the other guy whose house you were inside, you were he was
Paladin?
he was like coughing and hacking the bartender guy.
Oh, yeah.
He was
Yeah,
like,
we cured him, I think. Or we tried to.
yeah, he had something more serious, which was recognised as the red pox because he had poxes appearing on his body. Oh, that's the wrong campaign I'm looking at here.
Then
Against
we found out there was a werewolf in town, so we hunted that down. And Runic killed it in its sleep.
well, you found a naked man, in amongst all the wolf stuff in the mine, and then you murdered him.
It's humane.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh, it was humane. Okay,
let's
as long
not-
as it was humane.
let's not paint it like in a rosy way. Like they went down the mine, they found a guy who was sleeping, and all this stuff around him that's kind of indications of wolves, and then you just like straight cold-blooded murdered them.
Yeah, Runic convinced Aladdin that it was a werewolf.
See that psychological shift of the blame there.
Oh, so there was no hardcore evidence. There was just circumstantial evidence. Is that what I'm getting?
Yeah,
between the
that
lines
would that would not have stood up in a court of law.
here?
He looked at me funny in his sleep.
He wasn't even
Gotcha.
looking.
Growled.
The guy was naked, asleep, and he had his back to them, and they killed him.
He growled.
They killed him. Jesus Christ!
He was growling.
Yeah, he growled in his sleep. Sorry, that's obviously a
So they didn't
punishable by
talk.
Captain Punch.
Didn't talk to him. See like what was wrong. Maybe he needed some help. Nope. Just kind straight up kill him. Oh man. All right.
Well, Aladdin didn't kill him. He just tried to stop him, and then just kind of stood back and let it happen.
Oh no! Please, you can't kill him. Oh God, why are you doing that?
We probably shouldn't kill this guy. I'm going to kill him. Okay then.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, how much of that they relay to you when your fever breaks and you start feeling a bit better and you get some fluids and you know you can still hear the. Hang on, right? You treated the guy with the red pox, but you succeeded, didn't you?
I succeeded in giving him the medicine. I think it didn't cure him completely, but it eased the symptoms. But what we did, we told him how to get the cure completely through making a bargain with the tree spirit.
Yeah, you just told him to go speak to Dryad, but the Dryad was kind of like, no, they're gonna suffer for what they did.
Yeah, and then I convinced the Dryad to let them worship it and plant more trees, and hopefully that worked.
So I mean, I think he succeeded in the treatment. So he's going to live. I mean, he'll be horribly scarred from the pox once he eventually recovers, and he'll never breathe fully properly again. But he's going to survive. The other houses where you had heard other people being sick and moving around the coffin and stuff like that, by the time we got to that second day, you didn't hear any of them moving around or coughing or anything like that. If you were to investigate in the houses, you would find a lot of dead bodies or people that are so severely incapacitated that they can't barely move and they've only got like weak whimpering coughs. They're like on death's door and it's too late to treat them. But this guy, you got him at the early stages and he's going to pull through and live thanks to your treatment. And thankfully, I've forgotten Drax's character's name.
I think it was Evander.
Evander, yeah. Evander, on the other hand, does not have the pox. He just has the flu. And with your treatment, that's going to turn into just like a bad cold.
I got my character sheet right in front of me.
Yeah, so I mean, how much of like what happened in the mine stuff you relate to Evander is up to you guys.
I can
But
totally see
Killed
them
a wolf,
being
man.
just
That's all I
like,
need to say.
yeah, I could totally see like, hey, we made into a werewolf, so we killed it. So I'm like, don't know that they just cold blooded murdered somebody.
yeah, so I mean, I think it's only like early afternoon when you just do that. I'm guessing you like stay another night, and again, the workers come back from the mine, mostly empty-handed, kind of deflated. They didn't do much. They'll go to the tavern, the pub. The bartender's obviously still bedbound, so they're just kind of like helping themselves to what's there. And then they'll kind of retire early as well. And it's the next morning where Evander feels better, and you are able to think about your next step.
Is the bartender still sick?
He's still sick, but he's going to recover.
All right, I just want to take some supplies as payment for treating him.
Oh, so it wasn't out of the goodness of your heart that you helped this poor man.
And the fact that we whatchamacallit stayed in his place for free, it was secure lodgings.
But you didn't stay for free. You paid for that.
Yeah, true. Let's charge him or steal.
I mean, if you were
We can
to
leave it now.
if you were to take anything to Rob, he couldn't do anything about it. He's not in a condition. But clearly, the
Okay.
people in this
Yes.
town are like struggling as is already. They do not have much.
I'm just checking supplies and gears and fatigue and stuff just now. So
Yeah, I mean,
technically we
compare your
rested
what
there,
you've
so-
actually got at the moment.
Right. So because we rested for one more night, all our fatigue should be clear, shouldn't it? Yeah.
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna clear that empty.
Trying to find my rules. Here.
S-
Before we go, before we go to sleep, I want to draw a ritual circle in the guy's house.
Okay.
I want to try to cast a reanimate on his house.
Okay. So there's one dice plus whatever your skill is in that spell. Yeah, I mean, either. I think the sort of mana mist that is hanging around everywhere has a lot of influence in this area, and it's hard for you to actually draw that in and use it for your own magic. It's kind of like absorbing, sucking up all the magical energy in the local vicinity, and you're not able to animate the whole house because it's a fairly powerful spell to do something as large as that, I'm guessing.
Hey team, what's our supplies like? Because I've got 3 supplies left. Unless we buy more just now before we leave. I'm not sure about the rest days.
You could
Well-
also do like a scavenge or a forage or a hunt to try and restock supplies if you don't want to take on debt buying it.
Well, when we had made
I'm good on supplies right now.
yeah, all my shit had cleared out, and then I like left the game, so I don't know if like how that works, if I'm still clear or what.
Yeah, you haven't done anything, so you should be fine.
But it's me who needs to get supplies. I could do a hunt then to try and reduce my supplies. I'm not sure what we do about gear though. How does that? I'm just checking how that replenishes.
You would take on debt or find some.
I think I'm okay gear wise. Actually, what I've got.
I mean, you shouldn't need
Got
to.
bow,
What's your gear? How many?
arrows,
You marked off your bow.
I'm out of bow, arrows, and fur.
Okay, so half. But I mean, you've got those now, so you shouldn't really need to mark them off again. I'm thinking with the fur, it makes more sense maybe to mark off a gear for fur to negate or restore cold, rather than something that just completely removes cold affecting you ever, because that kind of defeats the purpose of cold.
Right, so I'll take fur off then. Something I think why I got it last time was to knock
Oh,
the
you did
cold
it
off.
to negate that cold, so you keep it marked in your gear. But you would take it, you would mark it again on gear if you wanted to like negate cold that was coming in or something.
Would the fur not be used like as well, I guess that's how you're using it, right? Like a single use of heat source or something?
Yeah, you would mark gear, say that that's fur, and then that's
Right.
going to like negate or maybe restore cold. But like each time you do it, you would mark it each time.
Right, so rather than pick up more debt, because I already at 2 debts already.
Yeah, you're going to need to. I mean, what to do is like when you notice you're starting to accrue a good amount of debt, you're going to really direct your actions towards finding treasure.
Yeah. No, I'll just take debt now to restore. If you take that, just restores all supplies. Yeah.
All your supplies and all your gear. That's the way I've got it
Okay, I'll
written
just
just
do
now.
that then.
If that ends up making it too easy, I will tweak it, but that's what we have got it written just now. Yeah, so I can imagine you're going to the guy kind of like, hey, look, we helped you out. We're going further on in our journey. You don't need all this stuff you've got lying around, so I'm just going to take that with me to restock my own supplies. And I will pay you back later.
Exactly.
Here's an IOU that you'll never see me again.
Yeah, and he's like nodding meekly, like, you son of a bitch.
All right. From information we got on last time, the trader was Blenor, the trader who had the necklace, and he tends to have main trades through the Freeland tribes. So that's probably where we're heading towards next.
Did you have a name for the guy, did you say?
Yeah, Beor or something. That's what I wrote down. I might have misspelled it. Obviously, Beour.
Oh, Bjor. So Bjor. Because it's like Nordic Bjorn.
Well, sure, that's who we're looking for at the Freeland tribe. So that's where I assume we'll be heading next.
So he went okay. I remember he went north, so he went north to Freeland Tribes. Gotcha.
I've never travelled up that far, so don't know anything about any tribes or anything up there. Have you heard anything before?
The nomads, so we'll just have to like hope we get lucky. They're not gonna be in any one place, really. I'm sure they have their favorite places, so but this river the river goes up into the Freeland tribe, so I think we start there. Source of water.
So you want to backtrack and then take the river?
I would, because going along the river gets us to more towns, right? Like there'd be towns along the river, or at least little settlements or something. Whereas if we just struck out across open land, we might not find any other settlements between here and there.
According to the map, the next settlement is Pass Village.
So we got to go
This is
through
quite
that pass next.
It takes us quite a large detour if we go that way. Unless we want to just brazenly go straight up north.
Or should we just
and
head
into
straight up to
Freeland's
the?
area.
Well, we could also like cut across like this, you know.
Yeah, I mean, your choices are to pick a destination and strike out that way, or just to wander in a general direction. But that's obviously more difficult and carries more risk.
So just my thought process with like with this river going up into the mountain area here. That's like where we would head. I guess just head in that direction.
Okay, so do you want to do it? Do you want to go direct, or should we go by Pass Village and get some sort of ride up the river towards it?
I'll leave it up to y'all. The safest bet would be to go along places we know we can get resupplied at, but that's not the quickest way either. That'd be just the safest way.
Yeah, but it would still be faster to go along the river, just because traveling on a boat's faster than walking.
I mean, would it though?
Oh.
Because that's quite a long ways around.
How many days travel would it be if we go direct, and how many would it be if we stop?
Well, it depends where you're
travel?
choosing your destination to be. If you have a destination, even if you're just like wandering towards the mountains or towards the Freeland tribes, I mean, that's not a destination. That's just a general direction.
Well, I thought. Well, in my head, the destination would be the tip of this river right here. Doesn't it go into the mountain range, according to the map? I'm pinging it on the map just in case.
Oh yeah, I mean, I know what hex you're talking about, but there isn't like a. Oh, you're saying like the end of the river.
Yeah, like the end of the river. That'd be like the best starting point because that would be a source of water. So if there was going to be any nomads, there might be some there. Then we could pick up the trail from there.
Sure. So that's like 6 days on foot. It would take you a day on foot to get to the river, no matter what direction you go in. And then, what did we say? The river was like 3 times as fast or something.
Right. But that's still a little
So
bit out of the way.
so there'd be a day to get to the river, and then maybe, assuming no mishaps, about 3 days along the river. So that's 4 days. So it'd be a couple of days quicker, assuming nothing goes wrong. But of course, if something goes wrong in the river, it could take a lot longer.
Mm-hmm. And we'll have to get off anyways to go around Death Pass.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you can't sail through Death Pass, then yeah, it's going to be longer. Or you could take your chances going through the Death Pass, which sounds like a really inviting thing to do.
I don't think my sailor skill is hot enough for that.
Because we can see how much you want to sail, and that we want to see a smiling face of a boat. I'd say maybe just go to Pass Village and get a boat from there.
I believe you said I could have a boat. Wouldn't boat be like gear or something?
Yeah, just
Or
mark off the
supplies?
gear and have a boat.
Yeah.
I imagine it's not like a big, massive sailing vessel or anything like that, but you can certainly have a small fishing boat, a rowboat, a long canoe, whatever you fancy.
Live on adventure. Let's go. Let's go.
Okay,
Do
Just
Death
been dragging
Pass,
the boat
let's-
behind us the entire time.
so what's the route? What are we thinking? Because if you're gonna sail along the river,
I say we just take
Yeah,
the.
there you go.
I think we should just take the river to Death Pass and then decide what to do once we get to Death Pass.
So we maybe break that up into a journey to the river, which is like what, a day, 2 days, and then from there the journey up the river to Death Pass.
Yeah, that would be the best, and then we decide that if we go through or just go around.
Okay, so we're talking like it's like a day and a half, I think, to the river, looking at the hexes. So you can be prepared. Has everyone got a full supplies cloak? Or an
Yep.
empty supplies cloak,
I
I
do.
should say. Okay, so you're prepared. Has everybody got full fatigue?
Yep.
Oh yeah, because I lost it after we rested, right? Would that be?
Well, you would have
Would the
got it
rest
for
have been
doing.
long
You
enough
would have
to
got.
take it?
Sorry, you would have got in for the spell, but then you would have rested anyway. So yeah, you can have that back.
Would the rest have been long enough to use XP?
Oh yeah, definitely.
I'll just level up shapeshifter.
If we're all got fatigue, then we're fresh. If you've all got your supplies, then you're prepared. So that's an extra 2 dice. You can get another dice if you want to travel by night instead of like making camps or halfway through the journey. But other than that, it's just going to be the roll for whoever's leading the party, which I'm assuming is going to be the Pathfinder.
Alright, so I got 3 in pathfinding.
Okay, so you
Right.
get 3 for your Pathfinder, 1 because you get it by default anyway, and then you're going to get an extra 2 dice.
I need to roll 6 dice.
Now, you failed this
Roll
last
the
time,
dice.
so...
I didn't fail. I just didn't super succeed.
No, you did fail. I read it wrong at the time because that's why it says 0 successes and stuff.
Oh shit, I messed that up.
Because you need 5s and 6s to count as successes.
Do you have the roll success macro on yours?
I don't think. I just got I was just gonna.
Yeah, if you go into the macros bit, there should be a macro there you can enable on your
The
bar.
player roll macro.
That's the one, yeah.
But how many dice? So we have 6 dice. That's what I just read. Submit.
I think I said 5 actually.
Oh, shit, my bad. I thought you said we get another one if we travel. Well, I guess we didn't decide if we were gonna travel by night.
Oh, I mean, sure, we can make it by night if you want. So everyone gets fatigue. Everyone gets a cold. And that was 1 success, so that's a partial success. And so everyone's going to mark an extra fatigue, but you will make it to the river without anything going terribly wrong.
We'll mark 1 supply as well, don't we, for the journey?
I haven't actually got that written somewhere. Let's see. Crit.
When you make camp,
Success. Yeah, when you make camp at the end of it, yeah. Once you reach destination. Because when you finally reach the journey's end, or end abruptly, okay, yeah, everyone marks 1 supplies for each day of travelling, so I said it was a day, so 1 supplies. So, yes, after a day and a half, day and a bit of trekking across the barren landscape, instead all the forest is being chopped down. It's just like stumps, dying trees, dead wood, logs that have been like snowed and frozen over. And then probably the beginnings of where the forest begins to sort of recover, where the logging ended. And at that point you can hear the sound of running water. And the river is there. And although it's freezing over, because we're getting into winter, it's not completely frozen over, and it's still, you're still able to navigate your way up it. And you travelled like overnight through the night, so after you've all marked cold, you know, you get there and it's morning, the light's coming up, and that's when you come across the river. You've still got the daytime to travel through.
Are heading up the river then? Or should I do a wee hunt before we go up the river?
I'll try to scavenge some supplies before we get on the boat then.
could we fish technically the whole time we're going up the river? Or would that be considered like hunting? I mean, I know it's fishing.
Yeah, you could fish, yeah. Are you asking what skill it would be?
Well, yeah, I'm assuming it would still be like the survival or hunter skill or whatever. But I mean, no, it's fishing, not technically hunting.
I
But
don't know about hunting, but survival, yeah.
Alright, I'll roll for that then.
So you fishing before you set off, you take it then. So you recover 2 supplies.
Alright, does
You
anyone
got
else
two
need
supplies.
a supply?
We all used to supply for the journey, so
So which of you
I can
wants to
try.
restore one of them? Because I only had 1 supply marked off, so one of you get. I think one of you can mark off on a supply. Then?
Yeah, you can
Or
give it
is
to
everyone?
you can give it to someone.
Whose boat is it?
I'm assuming I would just mark off a gear for the boat since I'm the
Yeah,
sailor.
yeah. So you get there in Evander. This is where you've like pitched up one of your boats at some point in the past. And there's probably like a little wooden jetty that's like sitting there, and it's got a couple of canoes and rowboats that have been like set aside there, just for people in the village to make use of as they're going up and down the river.
Alright, so then I'll give Evander a supply.
All right.
So going by the length of the river, a single journey to Pass Village, or to the Death Pass, I guess, and you can't go right like straight through it, is just like a single day journey. I don't know if you want to do it so you've got like less dice because you're going through Death Pass, or if you want to make it you can only go up to Death Pass and then you have to navigate around or through that somehow.
I think if we wanted to try to go through it, we would. I guess it would like cost us dice, you know, so we wouldn't have as many dice to roll. So with that way, we
Yeah,
have
because
less.
I've got it here. If it's like dangerous terrain stuff like that, you've got like a negative modifier to it.
Right. So then, like, I guess we make the choice now. Do we want to go through Death Pass or do we want to go around it? So that would like take more time, kind of deal, or dangerous path.
I mean, what if we can find treasure there?
Like what? Like bunch of sunken ships.
Yeah, or I heard there's monsters there. What if they have treasure?
I'd say we get up to Death Pass, have a quick rest, and then head up Death Pass after that. Means we're all fully sort of like we're semi-freshed and camped out and stuff.
Do you want to sail there, make camp, and then trek across it on foot?
Or if we go through it, at least we'll try to stop by before we go through the water. Anyway, at least so we're all freshed up.
Well, if that's the case. We should like make camp now, so we're first, and then we just say we go through Death Pass as our journey. So then we roll now, but we be first.
Yeah, so I mean, it's up to you guys if you want to make camp now or you want to push on.
If you want to be first for the roll, so we make camp now, and then we make the camp as going through. We make the journey roll as going through Death Pass.
Alright, let's make a camp.
Camp it out and then go through the Death Pass. Let's go, adventurers!
Oh God.
Okay, so
Alright,
who's
so-
scouting or preparing the site to make camp? Maybe a scout or survivalist role.
Do you want to do it, or do you want me to do it?
We can aid. Like I got Scout 2, and then so I can aid you, or you can aid me. Don't matter.
I can hunt afterwards.
Alright, so I guess I'll aid you.
So that'd be an extra dice. So that'd be 3 dice.
Yep. Do we think this is going to be sheltered or exposed where you are at the moment? I did say it had trees and stuff, so maybe sheltered. Which
I
would
would-
get an extra roll.
Well, I'm assuming since this is where people pitch up their boats, it would be like a prepared campsite kind of thing.
Yeah, there's probably like lean-tos and stuff like that that've been put up in the past.
So
Yeah, especially if there's a jetty nearby for
Yes,
like the
so that-
fishermen.
Yeah, so that'll give you another dice to the roll as well.
so 4 dice total is what we have right now.
to a success, which is a full success.
What makes up for my bad roll before? Yeah.
So anyone who wishes can mark off as supplies to rest, relax, and reheat.
And then I'm gonna try to cook a meal.
And you get an extra dice cooking a meal because it's sheltered. Oh wow, that worked out really well.
5 course dining.
Each hit restores either a fatigue or a stress to everyone in the camp, and that happens before you rest.
Oh, that gets rid of all of our fatigue then, because Resh gets rid of the other fatigue.
Brews up an excellent meal from his fish.
Oh,
So,
And then I'll mark a supply so I don't go over when I'm cooking. Because if I didn't, I would be at 4 fatigue before I cooked.
I think with that alone, we're actually all at full health again. Everything.
yeah, I mean, you should double your fatigue back because you're going to get the full rest, and nothing's going to interrupt you during the night when you camp. So this is a nice spot to settle down, have a good meal, sit around the campfire. And this is something we completely forgot for you to do last time, was nobody told a tale, so nobody gained a new trait or anything like that. But this would be the ideal time for you to sit around the campfire that night and for somebody to tell a tale.
Does anyone want to go first?
Right, calm down. Not everyone at once.
Remember which one I had one from last time and I've forgotten it now. I was just checking the trait sheet to make sure I've got something that works.
I'm actually reading all the questions right now, seeing if anything pops out at me.
So how do you survive? What do you seek? What do you worship? Where do you find joy? Why do you go on? When did you fail? Where is your heart?
I don't remember. Do we decide what question we're answering, or does someone else
Yeah.
ask us a question?
You know, you can decide because you're the one telling the story.
All right, I guess I'll go then, unless either of you have already thought of something.
No, I'm trying to think of something on the spot.
Same here.
All right, I'll ask where do you find joy? So, Eladin, being a druid, finds joy in the wilderness, with nature and trees and whatnot.
Okay, but you have to tell it in the form of telling us the campfire story.
All right, so one day when he was younger, Eladin became lost in the woods, and he found a grotto. And surrounding it, there were a bunch of animals that would normally fight and eat each other, but they were all just sitting there, just drinking the water, and none of them attacked each other at all. And he just found joy in that. I don't know, is that a good enough story? Do you have any questions?
So you just found the scene so peaceful, you decided to be a druid.
Yeah.
And I guess it's just the harmony of nature that you enjoy. As an eagle swoops down and kills a rabbit.
As soon as he leaves, yes. And it was good because it was nature and stuff.
Okay, I got one for the next time we make a camp.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's simple enough. So what tree are you taking for that?
I did not think of that.
It should be somewhat related to the tale that you're telling as well. Tell.
Aladdin will remember that.
Yeah, so the journey ahead up the river, as I said, it's freezing. There's ice chunks. There'll be sections that you have to like get out and drag the boat over the ice or push it around the river bank to get over rocks. As you can see, there's kind of like a small lake kind of area where the larger river kind of splits into two. That's going to be more open water and less likely to be frozen, I think. But as the river continues northwards and reaches Death Pass, that's when the river really starts to become icy. You see like chunks and sheets of it jutting out, and you can see in the distance the Death Pass, which is this massive field of ice and snow, and it's all broken and mashed up. There's like tremors in the ground sometimes as like sort of mini earthquakes happen, and end up pushing the ice floats in the land up against each other, creating these very dangerous crevices and cracks in the landscape. And as such, the course of the river is like constantly changing to accommodate the new terrain. And this is the area where you're going to be headed to with your journey roll here.
I picked calm.
Oh, good one. So are we all fresh and prepared again then, I take it?
Yep.
Yeah, because resting would get rid of our cold, right?
Could you get the fire and stuff? Yes.
We have a couple of rolls to make, don't we? Like one for the journey, one for the survivor hunting for the supplies deal as we travel. Or
Yeah, I mean, if you want to hunt for supplies beforehand or afterwards, you can. But, you know, the journey's the journey.
gotcha.
I mean, if you're all prepared, there's no point hunting beforehand because you're full anyway.
Right. So we get 3 for my roll, 1 for free because we're prepared.
Yeah, one for the roll, one for fresh, one for prepared.
And then
You can travel by night to get an extra dice, but then you mark cold. You can push your limit by everyone taking a fatigue to get an extra dice as well.
we're at 5, but then what do we take for going through Death Pass? Like how many do we lose for dangerous terrain? Or
So
whatever?
it's particularly dangerous, so that's going to be one dice less. But it is a short journey, so that's only going to be the one dice.
Right, so
Oh,
that's 4
sorry, the
dice.
route is unknown because it's changing terrain. You don't know the particular sets of the route, so it'll be 2 dice you'll lose.
So now we're down to 3 dice to roll.
Plus your skill, plus your level as well.
Right. So my Pathfinder would be 3, and then we get the 1 for free and the 1 for prepared, but then we lose 2, so we're back down to 3. Unless we want to push ourselves and go through the night.
Well, you get skill 3, yeah. So you have 4 dice by default, and then you got 2 more for fresh and prepared, which is 5, and then you're losing the 2, so yes, you're down to 3. Sorry.
Right. So do you guys want to like push ourselves? Everyone take an extra cold. Like it's just 4 dice to roll.
Go for it.
All right. So 4 dice. On here. 0 successes. I love it.
Think of the XP.
Yep, XP.
Oh, I do
Everyone-
get 1 for failing that, don't I?
Yes, you do indeed. Okay, so everyone marks a stress.
Stress.
Everyone's going to mark a supplies, because it is the end of the journey.
Okay.
And we already said everyone marks cold, because we're doing it through the night. Yeah, so I mean, imagine the journey on the river itself is uneventful. You actually make that not too badly, but as you're approaching the Death Pass is expanded because of the onset of winter. It's stretched out further than it does normally, and you encounter it far sooner than you were expecting to. Unexpectedly, there's a kind of shift in the river, and you find yourself like caught in a riptide, like whirling under a very strong current underneath the river, and it pulls the boat off to the side into some rocks and rapids that you're trying to avoid, causing the boat to like creak. It doesn't really smash, but it's going to creak and splinter, take on water in the middle of this freezing river. So what do you do?
Did we mark off an extra fatigue? Or is it just one?
Extra fatigue. You made this journey through the night in the cold, and it's tired. Because, you were up, you didn't really sleep because you stayed up all night doing it. And then you're finding yourself, the boat's taking on water. It's only a short swim to shore, but you have to go through the riptide, the rapids, the freezing cold water. And then the shore itself is just ice, so that's difficult on its own.
How far are we if we like try to make it to the village, whatever?
Oh, you still need to travel through the rest of the Death Pass. You've kind of encountered this earlier than expected because your journey was to the edge of the Death Pass. So once you get out of the boat onto land, you're going to have to like trek through or around it.
Do I see any
What is
animals nearby?
Any what, sorry?
Any animals?
There'll be fish in the water. I can't imagine around a frozen feature in a landscape like this there is much in the way of wildlife.
Alright, I'm just gonna jump in the water and turn into a fish.
I use your stickman as a flotation device.
So he's just gonna abandon ship. Gotcha.
Yeah, it's like...
we could have just bailed the water out while we made it to shore, but you could go ahead. You could jump out.
Alright,
It's a
fine.
fish. No, you're good. You
I'll-
made your call.
It's
You're a
alright.
fish in the
Man.
water.
Well, I haven't rolled yet. I'll jump out and turn into a bear and pull the boat to shore.
Yeah, you jump into water, successfully turn into the bear as you do so. I guess if you're going to pull it to shore, someone's going to have to pull out a rope or something.
I'll use a gear for rope. I was going to do that anyway. I was going to say I'll shoot an arrow to shore with the rope and tie it on, so
Yeah.
that's something sort of stable. This just works well.
Sure. Okay, so you're going to take a cold for being in the water. Illidan. Because although your fur's going to stop you freezing to death, it's freezing cold water, so you're still going to be cold. But you guys, he manages to haul you to shore, and maybe you're like bailing out the water with your hands as he does so, and prevent it from sinking completely. Maybe you're just up to your knees by the time you reach the shoreline, and you leap across from the sinking carcass of the ship onto the icy shore. And as you look around, all you can see around you is broken ice, huge chunks of it, shades of blue and white and kind of turquoise green. It really has expanded and stretched out since the last time you were expecting to be here. And this is surely a sign that the winter coming is going to be a long and severe one.
Please pick up pace. We're going to make it before we can even travel back to the village. I don't think we'll get home any time before winter the way this is going.
So we gotta make another roll to make it to the village from here then?
It would be another journey, yes, unless you want to make camp here in the ice first.
Or we can use what's left of the boat for a campfire.
That's what I was gonna suggest, since it's already sinking. Why don't we just like haul it out and break it down? for like firewood or like a little lean-to or something?
Well, I mean, it's soaking wet because it's been sinking in the water. So
Well, we can make like a makeshift lean-to and all that out of it still.
yeah.
I think we should just press on to get to the town or to the village.
We can do
I
that
don't
too.
think we're that far away journey wise, depending on.
Well, it's a day through the Death Pass if that's the route you want to go.
A baby sec.
Alright, I'll shake fur off and turn back into a person.
And
Let's do it.
if you're choosing not to make camp and just push on, that's of course going to be like pushing on through the night and the cold and that kind of stuff.
Well, I thought that's what we were doing in the first place. That's why we made camp the first time, so the wall would take us all the way through to the village. So it don't matter to me.
Oh yeah, but isn't it because we failed that we didn't get all the way there?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So we just like, in my opinion, we just keep pushing on.
Yeah, we don't know what kind of monsters lurk in the Death Pass.
I say we push on still.
So I'm hearing pushing on.
Yeah. I'm gonna use a supply and restore some fatigue.
We're no longer fresh. We're no longer prepared. You're going to travel by night, so everyone's going to mark cold. I'll give you an extra dice. The route is dangerous, so you're going to lose a dice.
But then we could all mark an extra fatigue to take another dice, couldn't we?
Yes, you could.
So if I take the extra fatigue, that puts me at 3 fatigue. What are you guys at?
It's
I
gonna put me to
restored.
4, but
Sorry, go ahead.
so it'll put me to 4, but I'm just going to use an extra supply to keep it down to 3.
Yeah, I just used 2 supply to get back down to 1.
Okay, so that puts back at 4 dice then. And I've marked my fatigue and puts me at 3. Let's hope I don't fail another roll here.
He
Alrighty then. I do.
I'm just going to say I believe in you.
I believe in me to fail. I believe.
So this is a fatigue for the journey, a supplies for the journey, and also a fatigue because you failed.
Okay.
And since you are leading the way, Evander, I'll leave it up to you to choose if it's yourself or the person lagging behind that falls into trouble.
Oh God. Oh, I'm leading, so it'll be me.
Okay, so you are going to, as you're leading the way across this death pass, prodding and testing the ground and doing your best to get up high every now and again to try and navigate your way around the most dangerous looking parts of the death pass. There is a slight tremor in the ground, causing you to kind of like freeze up and wait just to make sure you don't trigger something you don't want to trigger, but everything seems fine. You take one step forward and immediately your whole body just falls through a thin sheet of encrusted ice covered in snow into a deep crevasse, if you want to mark 1 injury.
Gotcha. Has my trait been applying to any of this? Sharp-eyed?
Which trait, sorry? Sharp-eyed?
Yeah. 1 injury. That'd be for scouting more than for Pathfinder.
Yeah, probably.
Okay. Anyway, so I mark an injury.
Sure. So you
And
mark an
now,
injury, you slide down this thin crevasse. It's just this crack in the ground in the ice into deep dark nothing, but you manage to land on a small ledge. You can see peering over that it just goes down into nothing, and above you is just like smooth ice all the way up. You two guys at the top, he was probably there 1 second, there was a small tremor, and then he was gone.
Oh, it looks like he fell. I'll just
And where are
walk
you?
over and look down the ice.
There's a small hole, it's only a few feet wide, but that must have been where he's disappeared. And then indeed, if you get close to the edge and peer down carefully, you can see Vander lying there on a small ledge.
Evander, are you okay?
Peachy, just peachy.
You got this stick man still anywhere? Where is he?
Yeah, I don't know if he'll be strong enough.
Tie a
Stick
rope round him, lower him down, and you can grab onto the stick man.
Oh, the
Stick
scarecrow.
man. What?
You haven't told him yet.
Yeah, my scarecrow staff.
He fashioned a primitive scarecrow from his staff and then animated it to life.
Oh God.
It's got a wee knife too.
If you guys just throw a rope down, I can then use ice picks to climb up using the rope as like a safety feature in case I fall or something.
Ooh,
Like
I have an
you know,
idea.
like actual ice climbing. You know.
I'm gonna take that branch off the scarecrow that I got from the dryad and hang that down to him. That's probably stronger than a rope.
Okay, but the branch is not going to stretch down the distance he's fallen. He's a good like 20 feet down or something.
I already got a rope from using the boat tech thing, so I can use the rope from that.
Right. So you throw the rope down. You like anchor it to the ice or to something, and then I climb up and have the rope kind of like around my waist and tighten it as I climb. That way, if I fall, I don't like fall to my death, kind of thing.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
While
That.
he's doing that, I'm gonna set up a small campfire once he gets up, or while he's getting up.
Did you have a skill that you'd like to apply for climbing up the rope?
I don't have any skill unless you count Scout or Pathfinder.
I don't think survivalist maybe, but yeah, I don't
No.
think either of those one. So
Yeah,
you've
I don't
got
have either.
yeah, so you got one dice, and let's give you another dice because there's a rope.
Two. Um. Guess I'm gonna kind of like push myself so I mark a fatigue to do an extra dice.
You can indeed, yes.
Okay. So I'll give 3 dice. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, so let's say take a cold. Just from the effort and exhausting yourself, and it's taking you a while to get up there because you're going to constantly slip back down and have to like pull yourself up again.
Right.
But yes, I mean, after much effort, you'll eventually get pulled up over the edge again into the snow and the ice. By now, it's the night is drawing in and the temperature's dropping.
Do I need a roll to make the small campfire?
Are you like making camp, or are you just making a fire?
Just somewhere we can take a short break to warm up.
So that's just like camp. So have you got a survivalist or a scout?
I have survivalist.
So it'll be a survivalist roll. You're definitely kind of exposed here, I think.
Would calm help in this situation?
I don't actually think so, though. It's not really a situation of like panic and urgency.
So I use one of my supplies to make the camp, right?
No, so you've made success. So you've prepared the campsite, and then anyone who wants can spend a supply to rest, relax, and reheat. So rather than just spending one supply to get one fatigue back, you're spending one supply and you're getting one fatigue and one cold. Restored.
I need to go hunting. I've only got one supply left, so I'd have to do hunting afterwards.
Yeah, I just used my last supply to do that.
Oh, you'll also get one stress back as well.
I'll use my last supply to get the fatigue, the stress, and cold away, and then I'll roll for hunting, see if we can get some food supplies back.
Sure. So remember to take fatigue for hunting. So you're going to set out hunting in the dark. Yeah. Or you wait until the morning when you've rested.
We'll just do it in the dark to get it through.
Okay, that's
I've
much
got,
safer. Yeah.
Well, actually, Doc, I
I've
think
got
rolling
this
that
killed.
fatigue to make the camp would make me would put my fatigue back at full.
Okay, so then you will mark.
Yeah, so I marked a health.
Yeah, health. I only have a character sheet on one side and then have my rolls on the other side, so I'm not going back and forth in the pages here.
Well, I've got sharp-eyed as my trait, as well as got hunter level 3.
Okay, so you get an extra dice, yeah. So 3, 4, 5 dice you'll have. Just one supply is restored. Yeah, I mean, like I said, there's not a lot of animals out here. This is just like an ice sheet, basically, around the river and the surrounding land. It's somewhat of a kind of freak of nature, because you're not at a particularly high altitude or anything. Or maybe it's a deep, cold valley or something like that, and that's why it occurs. But yeah, all you're able to get is like maybe a fox or a rabbit, the most meager of supplies.
Enough to keep us going. Enough to keep us going. Well, it's supply each, so
It's not a supply, it's just one supply.
well, one supply then, so I've got one supply left.
But I mean, you still have camp, so you get to rest and you get fatigue back.
Do we all get XP for the field rows in the travel journeys, or is it just
The travel journey, yes, everyone will get field XP for that.
hey,
Don't
if we
worry,
rest
guys,
up, then I can level
I'm
up.
getting you plenty of XP.
I've got enough to level up now, at least.
Yeah, and you made camp, so you can level up now. Also, because you made camp, you could do tail another tail if you want.
I'll take one unless you want to do one.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what it was now.
I had a story, but then all these field rolls is making me think of a different one I want to tell.
Where is your heart? It's like frozen in time.
Okay.
I sort of just shake my goat legs a bit. So, yes, I know they're strange furry things. I mean, I unfortunately got them. I was fortunately cursed when I tried to barter with the wrong deity. I was trying to bring back my beloved child who was lost in the winter's cold. Unfortunately, my barter didn't go as well as I thought. When arriving my child, she was cursed as a monster, and upon having to actually kill her myself, I end up being partly cursed myself. My heart is just frozen in the sheer thoughts of people and their children. I can't let anyone to lose another child in their life.
So at that point, when your child was cursed and you had to kill her, that's kind of like when your heart was frozen.
Yeah. That's why I don't really care about most people. The only time my heart will take anything is to do with children, basically.
Yeah,
One of the
yeah,
reasons why I'm on this quest.
Parental instinct comes out. Who's the deity that you failed to make a deal with?
I'm trying to make it to a goddess, Lavona, but I end up getting some sort of goat demon thing appeared instead. It promised the same works, but obviously it didn't do it the same way. Never actually found out the demon's name. That's why I'm obviously trying to be a lore master, trying to cover all the stories and charms to find out who it is, so I can try and take sort of a sense. Well, that's another story, obviously.
Yeah.
And just looking
Was
for
this
the train.
before you moved to
The village.
yes, the village that doesn't have a name yet?
Yes, there's very few places in which someone of my physique could hide away naturally with. Only was the only village that took me who'd really take me in.
And which traits would you like to take associated with that experience?
Uh, Probably bitter, I'd say. Trouble
Yep.
being optimistic, but build to. I can't say the word.
Yeah,
Build to
you're better, yeah. Which is why you killed that guy in his sleep.
Exactly. I don't care. He was a child.
But everyone's someone's child. My daughter's dead, fuck you.
My poor child. Everyone else's child is nothing.
Yes, so come morning, the sun rises, the wind's picked up quite a bit now. It's whipping across the surface of the ice and flicking snow up in your faces every now and again. You still have to make your way through the rest of this, the Death Pass, and back across the river so that you can get to the Pass Village.
Looking around, can I see any of the ice that seems more magical than the other ice?
If you want to give me a skill roll. Something like Scout, maybe. Or if you don't have anything, just the dice. Yeah, there's nothing particularly magical about the terrain itself. It's just rather peculiar the way that it's occurring.
Would I get an experience for that for Wizard Sight?
You get experience because you failed, Joe.
Okay.
Because working out was better taking a new skill, or should I just upgrade my current skills?
That's completely up to you. Yes, but another journey will be required to finish the trip to the Pass Village.
Oh dear God. So we get any negatives because we're still going through Death Pass, or
You get -1 because of the Death Pass, yeah.
so okay. Just 3 dice then.
Okay.
Yes, I see success.
You'll make it, but everyone's going to get 2 fatigue each in total.
Well, that puts me at 4. So then, like, I hit 1 extra after that. Like on the new clock, I get 1. Is that how that works?
Are you filled your clock? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. So like, I was at 3, so we get 2. That puts me at 5 technically. So like, would my new clock have 1, or how does that work?
No, if you filled the clock, you mark health and you clear your clock. It doesn't carry over.
Okay.
That would be a little too punishing. Yes, I mean, it's hard going. You're having to navigate over and around these huge chunks of ice. You're being careful watching out for crevasses, for landslips. There's also, the water is running underneath some sections of the ice when you're crossing the river, and you don't want to fall in there and freeze to death or get carried away. It's hard going. It's exhausting. It's cold. The wind's picked up. The snow starts to fall. It's late into the evening before you see the smoke coming from the village. And as you kind of crest some of the hills in the ice, you can see clear terrain at last that you can just kind of like walk and slide across. Down the slopes, down to the village, next to the riverside. And you can see like the fires going and the light coming from the windows as you approach the village itself.
Eat, windows, food. Come on, let's go before we freeze to death.
Or we get lost. Jesus fuck.
Yes, I mean, Pass Village is... The old mining town was an old town. Pass Village is a village. It has maybe a dozen buildings at most. One of them is slightly larger than the rest. The others are clearly just, family homes. Smoking coming out the chimneys of them. You can see the ones that do have some sort of window opening, you'll see light in or maybe light between the timber. I imagine they're quite enclosed. Sturdy, mostly built of kind of like rock with grass turf on the roof that's covered in snow now, making them very cosy kind of abodes, retaining a lot of heat. And because it's getting dark as you approach, there's maybe a couple of guys who are just like tying up the dogs or feeding the dogs, putting their sleds away from the day's hunt as they go inside, but there's no one else like walking around or patrol or anything like that.
We'll look around for the main sort of tavern hut sort of.
Yeah, I don't think there's a tavern as such, but there is a building that looks larger than the others, which might be like the chieftain's hall or something like that.
I push Eldon to go in. Right, you go ahead. Go first.
All right, I'll. Is the door open? Or
Yeah, I mean, you approach and it's like a thick set door. It's not locked or anything. You can like push it open. You can feel the heat seeping around the edges of the door as you push it open. You can hear the sounds of like laughing and voices chattering.
we are travelers seeking shelter. I'll just announce as we walk through the doors.
Yes, the voices kind of go hushed and quiet for a second as you like enter, and then a man stands up and strides over to you and says, "Well, come in and close the door, damn you!"
We'll laugh and then walk forward and leave the other two to close the door. And just like take a seat.
I find that sort of darker corner bit where us to sit.
Sure, so there's like little wooden stools and like a log bench. There's a table and chairs. And that's where people are sitting around and they're like eating food. And there's a big roaring fireplace in the centre with deer heads and wolf heads like hung up around. There's furs draped all over the walls to keep the heat in. You can smell the broth in the food that's been cooked from the sort of kitchen area, which is off to one side. And this homely looking sort of housewife figure with very long dark hair that's all like tied into braids comes over and says, "Well, if you're going to be staying with us for the evening, do you want something to eat?"
Yes, I do.
I have a polite nod.
Of course, there's nothing like a hearty meal after a long journey through the ice and cold.
Oh, and where are you hailing from?
Oh, we make our way from Amwin, at the edge of the forest.
What brings you up here this time of year? You know the winter is setting in.
We're on a journey to the north to the Free Tribes, searching for an elder's missing son.
Missing, is he? Perhaps we know him. What is his name?
Bronwyn, something like that.
Wasn't it Bjork?
Bjor, that's it.
It's Thorin. Thorin's the older brother who left a year ago, and Laura, the younger one.
Yeah, so you start like giving them a bunch of different names, and they all look at each other, confused, and maybe a little suspicious. Well, I suppose their name isn't important.
You recognise they're showing the necklace. Is it? One of them used to wear this treasured necklace. It's a very unique item.
Are they taking a turn to look at it and study it and pass it around before passing it back to you? And the man who greeted you at the door is like, I don't think, I'm afraid we don't recognise it, no.
You know of the trader Brunyor? Supposedly he had it. Was the last person to have it before I made way back to their village.
He rubs his chin. He's like, I recall such a trader by the name Bjorn, yes. But I can't recall anything about a necklace or a missing person.
Thank you. Please get 3 hearty grub. Put some coin on the table.
Okay, so you're the one that's going to negotiate lodgings and stuff then, I take it.
Looks like it.
So what skill have you got? That's social
Actually,
skill.
skill for this. I've got peasant level 2.
Sort of pleading poverty kind of thing.
Yeah.
Do you have any traits that you think would apply?
Better maybe.
Sorry?
Better. I'm sort of also, but I'm dull to misfortune.
Alright, so that's going to give you 1 less dice. And then it is prosperous, so that'll give you an extra dice. So you have 3 dice to roll in total. Oh, that's a pretty good roll.
I seem to be quite good with getting lodgings.
So, yeah, whether they've got an air of suspicion around you because you didn't really get your story straight or not doesn't seem to matter too much. They know your village. They may be not familiar with you guys personally. But you know, it's a cold night. They're not going to leave you out there freezing. They welcome you in. They give you something to eat. You're welcome to sit by the fire. Use some of the hay in here or the furs to make yourself a cot to sleep in. And you're welcome to stay the evening.
Yes, the half goat man, the hunter, and the strange young person with a scarecrow aren't suspicious at all.
Actually, I'm probably not suspicious since I actually probably come here quite often for the chief. Maybe not quite often, but more often than you two.
So if you wish, you can mark a debt, and that allows you to relax, rest and recover and reheat.
I've realised I've got to share -1 dice there because I'm at health minus now as well.
I think you're fine anyway because you had the 6.
So,
I'll keep a note for next time.
so we marked dead, right?
You mark debt, and then
And we recover all of our supplies and gear.
Uh,
And we rest for the night.
Well, no. You mark that, and that lets you like stay here and eat and heat up. So that's relax, rest, recover, and reheat.
Right.
And all the things I've got names on the chart.
So that gets rid of our fatigue and our cold.
Fatigue, stress, cold. Fatigue, stress, cold. What's the other one?
Injury, but I think injury needs to heal.
Injury as well. Yes. No, I mean, if you've got an injury, they will help treat your injury. So you can restore 1 tick on each of those clocks by marking a debt. And that's also, a debt you owe these people for their hospitality.
Right, but we can also mark a debt to buy supplies, right?
Correct. You can mark a debt to totally refill your supplies and your gear.
Well, seeing as how my supplies is almost maxed out, I think I kind of need to do that.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that too.
Mine's are maxed out.
While we're there, can I regale them with our tale and ask for few days to rest here while helping them out?
Sure, you can try that.
Alright. Should I roll first, or?
Yeah, why not? We'll give it a roll and we'll see how long they're kind of comfortable letting you stay here and eat all their food.
Alright, so that's -1 for health and then 2 for my skill.
Plus you get 1 by default, remember?
Yeah, but that's the -1.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they'll let you stay here a couple of days and keep you fed and warm.
Yeah,
Longer than that, sorry, you might be like overstaying your welcome.
We've just traveled through the Death Pass, and luckily no one was too badly hurt, but our friend fell through the ice, just like some kind of monster just snatched him down, and 1 second he was there, and the next second he was gone. But not for long, as you can see.
Oh, he was lucky then. That sounds like he ran into the Knuckle V.
What's that Knuckle of E?
It's an evil spirit that haunts the Death Pass, and it drags the unwary into the dark crevices below.
Yeah, so it's like the world opened up and swallowed me for a moment there.
Yes, it lies in wait in the darkness beneath the ice for unwary travellers. You're lucky you got off with a light injury. Only this past season, we lost 2 of our brightest young men who had to make a hunting trip through the Death Pass, and they never returned. We only found signs of their equipment in their camp.
Most frightening indeed.
Yes, it's foolish to go stretching through there, especially in the cold of winter and at night. You're very fortunate to survive such a fall.
Desperate times call for desperate situations.
Must be some treasure hidden behind this creature thing taking all these people.
Well, perhaps the belongings of those that have been taken away, but who would be foolish enough to venture into the depths of the Death Pass to look for such thing? Like, trinkets are not worth your life.
I'm gonna look at the druid in our party when they ask that question.
What? What'd I do?
I believe someone's response when it was, do we go through the death paths or not, was like, isn't the treasure there?
I'm just gonna hide the scarecrow behind me and just start whistling. Like I'm just ignoring the question.
I'm just checking my coin purse and trying to figure out how broke we are.
The scarecrow is like, so we it's not got like working articulated appendages. It's got like a stick across its thick body, so it can just like spin in circles, waving its arms left and right, and that's about it. It probably has like, and it has a burlap sack type sack full of straw for the face.
Yeah,
And
with the druid's branch wrapped around its head.
Yeah, and imagine it's just got this permanent look of anguished pain on its face, just like, why am I alive? Yeah, so they'll put you up. Sorry, you go.
No, sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying they'll put you up for a couple of days, despite your strange scarecrow man, and I'm assuming that Runic is doing his best to sort of hide his lower appendages.
Yeah.
He's just wearing parachute pants. Just always.
Lower limbs, I should say. Do you have like a long like cloak in your furs you're using to cover them?
Yeah, but it's a big long cloak, basically sort of wrapped round. Although it's hard to cover up the sort of hoof noises occasionally.
I mean, I don't know if you want to give me a roll to try and like hide it, or if you want to just confront them with it and see how it goes.
I usually wait until someone does some sort of stories or tales and then let them get away with it. I'm usually hiding away from the village.
While we're here, I guess I'll ask the chief if anyone's injured, if they need a healing. Maybe he'll let us stay here long enough to heal our health.
Well, I mean, you can stay there like a couple of days, but not any longer than that. Especially, I mean, if you're going to do it for a couple of days as well, and Runic is skulking around, they're already a little suspicious because you're discrepancy in your story. Then he's skulking around, and they probably notice there's like hoof prints in the snow where he's skulking around, and maybe they do notice his legs at some point. So yeah, at that point you kind of sense that the village is becoming uncomfortable with your presence there.
May I ask you, do you know if there's a way into the pass where this creature supposedly resides on the undercaves?
Oh, the terrain of the pass is ever changing with the tremors and the changing of the seasons. The water itself causes ice blocks to move and meander through. So there's no one set path or entrance you could make. And how you actually would descend into the depths of the crevices, you would have to find one and then just lower yourself down.
It almost seems like the death pass is slowly moving.
It's constantly moving. It's always changing direction and shape and form. But what we have noticed the last couple of seasons is that it is beginning to increase in size.
Does that mean this knucklery creature is getting stronger?
Some say that it is, yes. It's growing in power. And it's causing the death pass to increase in size. Others say it's just a sign that the harshest of winters is coming.
I think we should go hunt this thing.
You think we should hunt a creature that's been killing countless people, and a death pass that also kills countless people when winter's coming?
Yes, because it hurts children.
I mean, I'm sure Evander's thought of this, but Evander just fell through the ice, so it could just be a legend.
I want to do.
It could just be a legend that's been made up to explain people falling through crevices.
Right, that's what's going through my head. Like,
Yeah.
It's probably not even real. Like, I literally just fell through the ice, and that's probably what happened to everybody else.
Yeah, and I didn't notice any magic or spirits or anything while we were there, so...
You have any other way to get money? We're gonna get low here.
I could heal people, but I don't know if they need people to heal.
Right, but so you want to get money, but we don't know that this monster's even real for there to be money, and they're not gonna pay us if we can't prove that it's real and that we killed it.
I mean, if we're drawing on rumours we've heard previously about treasure, there is the death pass there potentially. Also, a thief that absconded to the Boar Mountains with treasure and never returned. And the Boar Mountains themselves are supposed to be filled with precious ore and gems.
Yeah, if you're looking for treasure, I think the mountains would be the place to go, especially since that's where the free tribes are, and that's our destination anyways. I think that would be safer than trying to find treasure in Death Pass, but that's just my thoughts on that.
Well, you're the lore master. Do you have any stories or anything or legends you've heard about Death Pass that could help us find treasure there?
We'll go for a roll for that and see if we...
Lore Master could, yes. Well, I mean, anyone can attempt it, but it depends on the Lore Master is going to have the skill for it.
Yeah, I just have Orator. I'd be lying about any stories I heard.
Right, so Lore Master at 2, -1 because of my health.
Which is your extra dice, yeah.
Uh,
Do you have a trait that applies, maybe?
my traits are better now and sort of sharp eye scouting.
Okay,
and
so
stuff.
not really, no.
So 1 extra. Okay, it worked.
Okay, so this is a legend you've heard of before. And maybe to you it seems like it could be plausible. Yeah, so whereas Evander's like, yeah, this is like bullshit, just like superstition. To you at least, there's some substance here. Like such spirits or creatures could exist in such a place. And if they did, they might well, you know, have the leftovers from their victims down there in the deep. So, I mean, you don't know with full certainty, but it is similar to things you've heard before, and it could well be something that exists.
These not all creatures have magic as well.
Alright, Orator,
Is it-
you're the tiebreaker. You heard the story. What do you think?
I mean, even if the creature's not real, there's all the people who were trapped in the ice. But how would we get them out of the ice if we found them?
Well, I mean, assuming that his story is true, or that these people have fallen to the ice, like what happened to me, we'd have to find some sort of underground cave or something where it dwells. That would make the most sense. So
Even with this land all shifting. Sorry, on you go.
no, go ahead. I was go ahead.
Wow, so any
Yeah,
entrance we
but-
find might close before we even leave.
There will be some singular point, something that's always sort of been there, and no one's ever noticed because the land keeps changing all the time. But I bet you there's one point in which the place stays the same. Ask
Well-
around here and see if anyone knows it.
Even with it always shifting, that would probably just be the surface is shifting. Like any kind of like underground cave would probably stay mostly the same.
All right, so why don't we go there, search for a day, and if we don't find anything, we just head on to our journey.
I don't think a day would be enough time to really give it a proper look, to be honest. But that's okay with me. 'Cause I don't want to go do it in the first place. I'm brutally
Let's just
honest,
go to
okay?
adventure.
My sense of adventure is finding the sons that I was told to do. That's my sense of adventure. Everything else is extra.
Did we already rest here long enough to get rid of our health deck?
No, you had to stay for a whole week. They only gave us a couple of days.
Yeah, they won't let you stay long enough for that.
But if they let us stay for a couple of days, then we could we So we stayed here for one day, and then the next day we leave to go search for treasure in the Death Pass, and we come back and rest, and then we leave, and that would be like 3 days. So therefore, we're not overstaying our welcome.
Sure.
Also, if we're successful and save people and that, they might let us stay for a whole week. And that's us properly recovered.
That's true. There is also the possibility that if you do find something and slay it, and maybe bring back some belongings for people that have gone missing, or find some people that have gone missing, they might let you stay longer then. Or they almost certainly would.
All right, let's go look for treasure. I mean, the victims or the monster.
Don't pretend. Treasure's what you're after. Okay, so it's 2-1. I'm outvoted. Democratic process has demanded that we go find treasure.
Save the children.
Monsters.
Go save the children.
Right, whatever you want to call it.
I'm going to take like a 5-minute break, so I need to go to loot and stuff.
All right.
I'm gonna make some food actually while we have that 5 minutes.
Yep, thanks.
Alright, now I just gotta decide what we should do with my scarecrow. If I should just make a better one, or just keep making this one stronger and stronger.
We'll build a super scarecrow. So there's a wee flaming knife that goes, waha, waha!
What, just slowly turn it into Roberto from Futurama?
You've read my mind. I'll be back in a sec.
Well, I mean, if there really is a Knucklevive, we can always use its head for the scarecrow. Oh no, I just realized. Am I slowly making a monster worse than any monster we're gonna fight here?
I'm back. I'll just make a giant killer scarecrow then.
Yeah. I'm just gonna keep making it better and better.
How you gonna do that? You gonna give it like a lion's head and then like some 10-man armor?
Yeah, and then I'll just plant it in the ground and hide behind it.
Get one of the deer or wolf head mantles and put that instead of the sack.
Or would that at that point would it be more of a chimera than a scarecrow?
But the dead wolf head, so technically.
I mean, if it's animated, is it even still a scarecrow to begin with?
Well, I imagine it'd be a scarecrow as long as it looks like a scarecrow. So I guess as long as its lower body is just like a stick I can wave around. It's just a monster on a stick.
You're just a monster. You're gonna give some life and then just use it as a stick to wave around. That poor thing's existence. Reminds me of a movie. Owl's Moving Castle, maybe? The little scarecrow that bounces around all over the place. It's like just a stick with a tuxedo suit on.
Oh yeah, I remember what you're talking about.
It was an animated movie. I can't remember. I think it was Howl's Moving Castle.
So back in a couple minutes.
Is that the one you're talking about?
Put that in Discord. Yeah, that's him. That's him. He like jumps up and down in a spot, does a bunch of little twirls. Fucking love it.
I don't know. Maybe before we leave, I gotta find someone in the village to help me make a better scarecrow.
At least make a top hat for it. It's gotta have a top hat.
He's a happy scarecrow.
You scared the shit out of me.
I have that effect in people.
Since we were on a break and it was lasting longer, I was watching the TV show. And it was like going through kind of like a scary moment. And everything was like the serious quiet mode. You just pop in. He's a happy scarecrow. I was like, what the fuck? Well, we were like when you're gone, he was talking about the scarecrow, and I was
Right.
like waving around on a stick. I was like, that reminded me of a scarecrow waving around from an animated show or movie. I think it was like Howl's Moving Castle, I think. And he went and
Right.
found this one. I was like, yep, that's the one with the tuxedo and the top hat.
Yeah. Weeps.
So now we've decided that his scarecrow needs to be dressed better.
Of course.
Hmm.
You can't have him kind of naked.
Right.
He's a living
Yeah, it's
thing.
not scary enough like that.
Well, he's a living creature, so he deserves modesty, right?
That's what I said. He had his living creature. You just like waving around with a stick. I was like, that's like so rude, like so mean.
Well, it's not quite alive, but it's not quite dead.
Yeah, it's animated. It's not like fully alive.
At the
It's
Fully
very
like
sentient.
quote
least-
unquote alive.
At the very least, it deserves a top hat.
What is alive?
Yeah, it's sentient enough of sentience, it'll quite question you that.
Yeah.
If it ever asks me that, I'm setting it on fire right then and there.
It won't be Rise of the Machines, it's Rise of the Scarecrows.
Yeah, he's like, am I alive? I'm like, just stay right there for 2 seconds while I go get some lamp oil.
Is your character gonna basically be like anything that can't talk? Anything that can talk is, but it's not a human, is an abomination.
No, but anything that you've animated and then starts asking me if it's alive needs to not be alive anymore. I think it's
We
it
can't
needs to
stand
be
for those kind of
V-set.
questions.
Yeah. Yeah, it needs to be V-set. You know, that's all.
So yeah, I'm just looking at this. So we would tackle this by the journey is like going there and looking for this entrance, right?
Right.
It's certainly going to be a journey roll. With the destination unknown, because you don't know particularly where this entrance is, you're going to have to crawl over blocks of ice and through rapids and slide between massive blocks of frozen ice as well. Trying to find your way around and just, find this kind of entranceway, something you can climb down or slide down without causing yourself too much harm or too much risk.
I have a theory on that.
Uh-huh.
If this would help us with our roll or not. And if it makes sense to the other two. So if we're going on the premise that there's a monster hunting people, would where I fell through the ice not be a good starting location? Assuming that it was trying to, eat me by dropping me into my death and then dragging my body.
You
wherever.
mean just look for evidence there
Yeah.
before you start like hurling yourselves down crevices?
Yeah, before we start going to like the complete unknown. At least that one we should like know generally.
Okay,
where
so
that hole is at.
all right. So
I've got Hunter level 3, plus I've got the Sharp Eye thing for sort of scouting type things to increase it.
I mean, you can decide among you who's going to roll and what they kind of want to roll with. Are we all fresh and prepared again?
Yes.
So no one's got any fatigue.
Except for health.
Full supplies, full fatigue.
Empty
Full
supplies, empty
supplies,
fatigue.
full
Yeah, empty, whatever. Okay, so whoever's going to make the roll when we decide that they'll get 2 dice anyway. It is treacherous, so that's going to lose 1 dice, so you'll get an extra dice.
I'll do it then. If you want, because if I use Hunter, I get the Sharp Eye, that gives me 4. I get the extra 2 dice, but you minus 1 dice for the treacherous, and now minus 1 dice for the hell. So that still leaves as at 4 dice plus the
And then
initial 5.
I can help him search for signs with wizard sight.
Oh, only if it's magical, right?
Well, if we're looking for the knuckleave, and if it's real, wouldn't that be magical?
No, it could just be a creature that like hunts through the ice. It doesn't necessarily have to be magical.
I think you tried to use Wizard Sight already, and you came up with nothing.
But I also have Scout and I'm Pathfinder, so I could help you for an extra dice.
Yeah, so someone's going to be able to help you for an extra dice anyway.
Alright, so I've got 5 already, so that'd be 6 dice for an extra dice on top.
You're taking one off for health and one off for treacherous, yeah?
As you said, we got 2 for the freshness. I've got 3 for hunting plus my trait, so that's 4. Plus the starting dice, which is 5 dice. And then you minus 2 from the 2 negatives, so it's still 5 dice.
I think you got... Okay, wait. Your skill's 3?
Skills at 3 for hunting.
Okay, so that's 4 dice because you get 1 by default.
Huh?
You're getting 1
Like
extra
8.
dice because you're getting 1, but you're getting 1 less, so that's 1 extra dice, so that gives you 5. And they're helping, that gives you 6. And then your health takes you back down to 5, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so you're at 5.
I think he was trying to add his Sharpeye in there with his extra dice. I don't know if that would apply.
Oh,
or
yeah,
not.
you could add another dice for Sharp Eye if you want.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to add in. I don't think there's much point. I've already got like.
Well, no, because 3's the crit, so it's worth rolling it.
Yeah, the extra one
Okay,
didn't really do
yeah, so it is a journey, so everyone marks a fatigue. And marks the supplies.
Supplies and fatigue.
But you get back to the... You manage to find your way back to the spot where Evander fell. And without using any ropes or climbing gear or anything like that, you're able to carefully survey the area. And you can find in the crevasse where he'd fell, there are definitely marks of something like climbing, as if it had climbing gear, spikes or something that had been dug into the ice on either side of the crevasse or on the inside of it. So something has been down there climbing on the walls.
Do we find any evidence like it climbed to the top and went somewhere, or was it just in the crevice that we found the evidence?
In the crevice and in the area where you fell, because that's what they could see without actually going down there. If you wanted to spend a gear, you could like lower somebody down or climb down to get a better look. But there's definitely signs that something large with the ability to climb or hook into the walls was there. There's definitely tracks of that.
Right, but we don't see. What I was trying to determine was that it didn't leave, or it didn't come from someone else and go into the crevice. Like the mercs come from the crevice, right?
Oh, they come from inside, yes. They never like left. There's no like tracks in the surrounding area or anything like that.
Right. So then, if we try to think about that, then whatever tunnels or cave is using has got to be nearby, in the crevice somewhere, right?
Yep.
Do either of you have a way to travel down it easily, like a skill for climbing down?
We don't. I don't have a skill unless you count scouting, but otherwise no. Pathfinder, I don't know if that would count.
I got Dungeoneer level 1.
I think Dungeoneer might be more applicable because you're descending down.
Because if not, I could always try to shapeshift into an animal and get down that way. But then you guys would have to figure out a way to get down.
Well,
Because of the minus health thing, I only get 1 dice for it, no matter what. So
whoever goes down first, if you set up like a rope with anchors in it, then climb it down and back up out of it will be easier for the rest of the people.
Sorry, something that I should have mentioned as well. When you're making the journey there, you get cold because you don't have a heat source, do you? Unless you want to spend supplies to negate that.
Well, I still have my furs from before. Would that help?
Aye, but as we were saying, everything you're taking it, you need to spend on other supplies or gear in order not to take the next one.
All right, yeah, I'll use the gear to reuse my furs.
I'll just use a supply for heat source.
Yeah, for a torch. Yeah.
Johnny.
I'll keep the cold this time. Hold it.
Yeah, so yeah, you've got this crevasse. You know, it's steep ice on either side. That's not easy to get down. It's very deep, presumably, as Evander says, it's going down into a cave system of some sort, perhaps. But that might suggest that there might be an actual proper cave entrance somewhere.
I use my trait as well, actually, to get myself an increased dice, so at least get to roll 2 dice
For what?
for dungeoneering to try and sort of sculptate a way down that sort of hole safely.
Just to get a way down? Yeah, you could do that.
So who would get the most dice? Would you with your trait get the most dice, or would he and his animal
I've got-
shifting with you giving his like using the extra dice to like help him out with your engineering know-how?
I'm not sure. I mean, if he did an animal, then obviously animal could go down the hole more safely, like a bird thing or something, or so
But
it
that-
burrows
Yeah, but I don't-
like a rope.
I don't know how I'd be able to set up like anchors for you guys to get down as an animal.
Yeah, that doesn't necessarily. The difference is, his one is going to set it up so the rest of you can get down, whereas the animal, he'll get down better, but he's not really helping anyone else get down.
So could he help as an animal to help him find a way down easier? Then would that help? So he
Well,
could
you could
assist
aid him,
him?
yes, but you know the after effect is, you know, if Tink does it, then that helps you get down, or gives you
Right,
a path to also get down. Whereas if the animal goes down, that's only the animal going down.
So Tink goes with an assist from Elandon, Elodin.
Yeah.
Zero success.
Okay, so Runic
But 2
and
dice, let's go.
Eldon's going to help him. Yeah,
So Elvin's helping us. That's 3 dice then.
it gives you an extra dice, yes.
Whee!
I love it. So
All
what-
that XP you just got though.
So, do you want to spend a gear for either ropes or climbing gear?
Yeah, because I used my rope last time, didn't I? So I'd have to use another gear for rope, wouldn't I?
Maybe
I'll
it's
use
a
one of
different gear.
mine. I'll use one of mine since you used yours to save me. How about that?
Yeah, so you set up a
Okay.
rope, you lower yourself down like before. It worked well last time, that's fine. You get down there, and you find some ledges, and you should start testing them, and each one just kind of like shatters and falls, and you think, good lord, it's how did Evander not fall all the way down here to his death? And you're like quite deep down yourself before the rope's starting to, you know, it reaches its end, and you're looking desperately for like sort of crevices and ledges you can use to kind of scale your way down. You notice that the wall becomes less ice, and it's more like ice covering rock. So it's become more solid here, and you think you could probably drive some climbing gear into this and properly climb your way down. But as you're trying to like affix some of those screws to the wall, you kind of lose your footing and you tumble and fall the rest of the way and take an injury as you crash into the sharp rocks and ice at the bottom. Fortunately, there's a lot of kind of snow is like falling into crevasse overnight when you've left this here, so that kind of like breaks the fall a little bit. You're definitely in some sort of cave tunnel system at the bottom here, though.
Yeah, sort of a goat's cry going, ah.
I love it.
All the while, small bird just lands down safely next to you.
Yeah, right. Go secure that rope onto that peg. At least the peg was in the wall. So Elvin can get down.
Evander, you mean? Yeah.
Evander.
Right. Yeah, I'll fly back up and try to put the rope through the loop.
Yeah, you just grab the
That's
end
the,
and throw it in your little robin beak and just kind of thread it through. So that when he slides down, at least he can get a grip on the wall and sort of make his way down that way.
So once I make it down, I'm just gonna be surprised that there's actually a cave system down here. I can't believe there's actually a monster down here hunting people.
Yeah, so the cave here is this kind of like dark blue and black stone, and it's got these streaks of ice along either side, big patches where it's kind of like frozen over. And some of it is like actual sort of just like splits in huge chunks of ice in the ground, but most of it is like actual proper cave that's just kind of like frozen over.
You're giving a smug look saying, I told you there'd be something here.
Well, that means the hole that I fell through was actually like made on purpose. Like something made the ice weak there so that when something happened, it would open up a hole. Like that blows my mind. I'm not sure I want to find what we're hunting. They might be hunting us already.
While they're discussing that, Eladin's just gonna turn back into a person and run his hand across the wall. It's like, what would be a good word for this? Clear or shattered? He's just trying to decide how to describe this to the people in the village when he
Tails to tail.
over exaggerates his story.
What, like the color of the wall? Is that what you're trying to like?
Yeah,
find
if
a word?
if it should be called clear or if it should be like shattered with all the claw marks and stuff around it.
I used Hunter here just to sort of check for any sort of tracks of the animal might be or the creature.
It's a strange, wheezing, breath-like echo from the caves.
Well, to answer your question, if you're trying to embellish the story a bit and scare the people, you want to go with shattered, not clear, because that
Sounds
a
more
sim-
dramatic.
yes, since there's something going wrong, something's already shattered.
Like a gaping maw deep beneath the ice. It swallowed us up and
God, why am I giving advice about this? Anyways,
You hear that, guys?
you sound like a damn donkey.
And it's not me.
Okay, so I guess I'm gonna pull out a weapon at this point. I'm no longer feeling like we're alone down here. No gear to mark a
It's a low
sword.
rumbling, more of a sensation than a sound, and the whole cavern just tremors slightly, and some snow and ice falls from the ceiling.
I want to take a few of the more solid pieces of ice that fell.
I'm gonna pull out a sword in one hand and a torch in the other. So the gear and the supplies, I guess.
I'm ready my bow and arrow. I've still got.
Yeah, you ready your things, turn around. You do have a torch burning, so you have some light. You peer into the darkness in either direction, but there's no sign of movement. There's no more sound.
See any other claw marks, runic?
Let's check.
Yes, there's claw marks. Like, is there something's just like dragging a whole bunch of ice picks across the walls at varying heights and angles? And it's almost like a multiple creatures of a substantial weight, their footprints pressed into the snow and ice at the bottom. They're almost like elongated bear prints.
Are there any like signs of this of all the people who died here, like the signs of their spirits or ghosts or anything?
You got skill you can roll for that?
Just the trait, so it'd be 1 dice or with
you-
the minus 1 health.
One dice with the health, yeah. Well, XP's always good.
Can I track them? Try and track where their sort of direction it's going and stuff, or how old the markings are.
Follow the more recent ones, see which of the two directions to go in. Yeah, give me a hunter roll.
I'll help since I got scout and sharp eye too. I don't know. Figured I'd help out.
The
Yeah.
103 sharp eye, what? So that gives me 4, and then if you're helping me, that's 5 minus 1 from my health, so
Plus default one.
4 plus default. That'll be 5 then.
We're basically just playing a long escort quest where you two are searching for danger while I'm just looking at all the trinkets and stuff I can find.
I wonder what I
Make a very
should
good
call this
story.
in this story.
Yeah, full success. You can tell which of the two directions is the most recent tracks. You're not able. You're still confused by the pattern, the spacing of the feet marks. Like how many of these things there are. There's definitely more feet than would suggest one creature. But whether it's bipedal, a quadruped, a number of them, it's difficult to tell.
I don't know
Right,
what
follow me this
an
way,
8-legged creature or 4 2-legged creatures.
or multiple creatures. Hard to tell. This is different than I've seen before.
Right, I don't know what I want to hope for. Do I want to hope for like 1 8-legged creature, or do I want to hope for 4 2-legged creatures? Like, which would be the less scary option here?
Let's just hope it's something big enough and easy enough to shoot.
God.
So we're following the tracks then? Who's going first? And who's going last?
Ellen would be going last since he's trailing behind the two a little bit. Like he can still see them, but he's just stopping every once in a while to look for like the perfect piece of ice to add to his scarecrow.
Ice
Guess
to,
I'll be in the middle then.
ice to add to your scarecrow.
We're in the frozen wasteland. It's not like it's gonna melt or anything.
He's got a point.
Literally, he's gonna have a point.
Okay, so what kind of how are you approaching this then, Runic? Are you just like stalking it like you would stalk tracks, or is there a different sort of tact to what you're doing?
I'm stalking it like I'm doing tracks. Also, have the bow ready to sort of shoot on sight for any sort of inkling of anything unusual.
Okay, give me your hunter roll again then.
Get my skill as well for the.
Just 5
Sharp eye.
dice, 5 dice like last time, yeah. Yeah, so you make the way sort of spaced between you along the dark passage. Evander's the one with the torch, so you've just got like the edge of the light at the front there to guide your path. Because you don't want the light to give yourselves away too early. The tunnel quickly becomes like a warren of passages, cracks and crevices in both rock and ice in different directions, as well as the natural formed cave itself. You can quickly become lost in here, and you might be a little worried about like finding your way back or finding your way to the surface. And at times it feels like it's definitely descending rather than going upwards. So it's becoming more rockier and less icy. although the temperature is still quite cold and you can see your breath. You're just looking along, and you can, every now and again, you will hear this sort of bleated wails and breathiness echoing in the distance, drawing you deeper and deeper into the cave system. But you reach a large, like, cavern that opens up on the underneath, and you are quite high up in the cavern when your entrance comes into it. And you can see below, there's like ice cold black water, a large pool of it below you, maybe about 15 feet or so. And the cavern stretches across maybe another 50 feet in different directions. It's a very irregular kind of shape, and there's other crevices and holes in different walls going in different directions. But just as you enter this cavern and you're looking downwards at the different entrances, you just catch sight of a shape large with lots of arms or appendages sticking out of it, waving around anyway, and it just kind of almost like slinks off into one of these passages off of this main cavern as you gain sight of it. But to descend here is like a sheer cliff into the water below before you can go into like the rest of the cave.
Well, I know what was more scary. Definitely one thing with multiple limbs instead of multiple things with only, the normal amount of limbs.
How far across is this cliff? Like, to the next section of the cave?
Well, no, it would drop down, and then that's the rest of the cave. There's nothing at your level. You're like high up in the wall. This thing's obviously has the ability to climb up such steep cliffs fairly easily.
Well, I guess we just bust out another rope, anchor it down, and we can just kind of like rappel it down.
We find a way to get them to come to us.
Do you want to like let them know we're here and get it to come to us?
Lure it into a trap?
Well, easier to control them in a small tunnel if there's loads of them than it is going into a big open area and they can attack us from all direction.
So we need to set up a trap and then scout ahead to see how many there are or where they went, and then lure them back to here.
Well, we need to find a place we can set this up then. Sort of a where we can stand off and sort of lure them in towards us.
Well, this would be the best spot because they'd have to climb up here to get to this entrance. So then at least they'd only come at us from the one direction, right? And they'd be climbing up, which would, I don't know, that put my disadvantage or not, but gravity would affect them if we could knock them down.
True, and if they're ever below that, we'll be dragging them off as well, so they won't be able to stack on top of each other.
I think because Aladdin was kind of looking for trinkets and stuff, maybe just catching the light of the torch as you're peering down into the cave below, in amongst a pile of what looks to be bones and dust. There is definitely the kind of like glint of metal.
All right, I wanna try something dark. Can I use the branch I got from the dryad as like a catalyst for my shield spell, since it uses like branches and roots and whatnot?
As like the organic material to base off? Sure.
All right, since it's made of branches and roots, it'd be easy to climb. So I want to try to make a shield going down the wall.
I mean, that's not a shield.
It's a flat surface made of branches and roots.
Yeah, but it's a shield is a defensive spell. You're trying to repurpose a spell for its unintended purpose.
Yeah, you know, I'm trying to be creative with my limited options.
Let me see here. No, shield specifically says protect yourself from incoming harm.
Yeah, and the harm is gravity.
Oh my god.
No, you're not going to get that. I mean, if
Okay.
it's barrier,
Shield type.
maybe you could stretch it to that because of its description as a wall of several meters in size, but that is not at all what shield says.
All right, let me think, because I don't want to just turn into a bird and fly down there.
Well, we can get down with rope and rappels. That'd be easy enough. So that's just another gear that someone would spend.
So for now, the cavern is quiet, silent. What do you want to do?
Well, I think me and Runic are discussing trying to set up a trap and how that would work. Is there any loose rocks or stalactites or anything like that that maybe would be to our advantage?
Not stalactites or stalagmites. There will be like loose rocks you can kind of like get off the ground maybe, but there's not a lot of them.
That wouldn't help. I was thinking like a big rock we could like push over the edge as it was climbing up to kind of like crush it maybe.
Use gear, put oil, put sort of oil and light them on fire so the wall part goes in flames as they climb.
So it's like slick it in oil in advance, and as they climb, set it on fire with the torch.
Exactly.
Dark, is it too late to change shield to barrier since I haven't used it yet?
I don't think you can change it now. We're 2 sessions in.
Okay. All right.
But when you level
All right.
up, you
I'll
can always
use
pick
I'll
it
use
up.
the gear to. Yeah, I'll use the gear to use a rope to get down if that's what they want to do.
Yeah, you can use like an iron spike and sort of nail the rope into the ice or into the rock, and then you can climb down the rope to climb down the cliff.
Thinking maybe I could use an arrow. I could shoot it and try and secure it and could use the slide down.
Like a zip line.
Aye.
Wouldn't climbing back up that be more difficult though, than if it was like this flat against their surface?
Very true, yeah. I wasn't thinking that far ahead.
Okay, to climb down like that will require a roll because there's cold water at the bottom. You don't know how deep it is. It's a steep cliff, and there's potentially monsters around. So a roll of some kind will be required for descending. And I'm assuming the purpose of descending is to descend and investigate the skeleton pile.
That'd be up to Eladin, because that's the farthest thing from my mind at this point.
Yeah, that's totally terrible.
Well, I think if we set up a trap first, because the hunter can set up a trap, right?
Well, I think any of us can set up a basic trap, but I think like if we're trying to like trap actual game, then the hunter would be more required for that.
Yeah, snares and such.
Yeah, this is more like a general like a set in an ambush kind of trap, not like a.
Set some sort of snare trap to go off slightly behind us in case they find a way to get behind us to give us
Ooh.
sort of an advantage.
Yeah, we might need to do that because who knows where all those branching off tunnels lead to. They could show up behind us at any point.
Okay, so Joe, if the hunter wants to spend a gear to set up a snare trap or some sort of rope trap behind you, and then if you want to do the oil trap, like with the cliffs, if one of you want to spend a gear for that.
Alright, so I'll spend the gear for the oil, you spend the gear for the rope trap, thingamajig.
Yep.
I think we'll be set.
And when they're
I'll,
triggered, when they're triggered is when we would roll to see like how successful they are.
Right.
Can I cast a shield on all three of us to protect us from harm, or attempt to?
It protects you from harm, so not for
Okay.
everybody.
I'll,
You could do like
I'll cast it on
everybody
myself
as a
then.
group if you're kind of like all together, or it's just going to be like you on your own. It's up to you.
well, I mean, do you want to all stay in one spot, or do you want to find different hiding spots so we can flank them?
Well, I think having one person out in the open or two to draw attention would be important. And since Vuna uses a bow, maybe he needs to like be hidden so like they don't see him at first or something.
Okay, I'll be the bait then.
You can orate to them all to bring them all in.
All right, so I'll cast a shield on myself and just as we get down and standing there in the middle, right behind the trap, just like branches and roots just wrap around Eladin.
Are you also?
I gotta
Hey.
roll first, don't I?
Are you climbing down there to do this, or are you changing into
No,
something?
He should stay up top. Like if the oil's on the wall and he doesn't need to climb down. Like
Okay, yeah, then I'll stay at the top.
All right, then
he
you
just needs
just
to
okay. So you're just
make a
like
bunch of noise.
yeah, you're just making noise to draw attention to yourself. Okay, and the other two are like off to the side, kind of lying in wait.
Would I roll shield now, or would I roll shield when I get hit?
Oh, let's say roll shield, because making lots of noise and drawing attention is something you can just do. So we're going to see how well you kind of defend yourself when the thing appears.
Okay, but so you want me to roll it when the thing shows up and attacks me?
Well, it's going to show up and attack you, that's what I'm saying, so let's just roll your shield. Okay, so you start whooping and hollering and yelling and banging, and then you see this massive creature come just like bounding out of one of the larger of the crevices in the cavern beyond. It's this huge hulking mass of just claws and arms and legs. There's no discernible face or neck or head to it. It's just all these claws raking along the sides of the cavern and the ground, these big thunderous bare feet, and these massive hefting clawed arms, again kind of like bear or wolf like, and it's just they're all coming out at all different angles of it, and the whole thing just comes like almost like a spider with too many legs, just comes like scuttling out at speed, and it comes roaring, hissing, wheezing into this cavern and leaps across the water, grabs onto this bare cliff and just starts scuttling up it as fast as it can.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
And it reaches you before your compatriots have the time to react. So, but then you guys can react just as it kind of crests the cliff, because the speed of it is just staggering, and it's like right on them when you get time to do something.
Or I'll let them go. I'll let them do something first.
Yeah.
I'll shoot it to try and hit sort of like sort of the mass point where the arms are sort of converging.
Yes,
And
the
it must
central
fly.
body mass, yeah.
Let's see what I've got Archer 2 and I've got my skill Sharp Eye. Well, -1 dice from that. So 3 dice in total.
Yep, 3 dice is good. Ooh, crit, nice.
Boom!
So I have something I can.
I was going to say,
So since I
Evander,
was a
sorry,
distraction-
Evander gets
sorry.
a chance to do something to if he wants.
Well, I still want to set it on fire so that we, since we have all the oil on the cliff face.
Well, but that's what I was thinking. Since you guys are both hiding, wouldn't I have the torch at the top of the cliff?
Right.
Yeah, waving
So I'm
it
just
back and
gonna-
forth for attention and stuff as well.
Yeah. As soon as it starts climbing over, I'd assume there's a little pool of oil at the top. So I'd do Evander's plan and just gently toss the torch into the oil
Yeah, even
set the
just like
whole-
you just drop it and it just like hits the oil, whoosh, goes up in flames at the same moment.
So since he set it on fire. I have the bolt spell. I guess I'll try that as my action too.
All right, let's have that.
Pile up damage on it. Would Star Power help me with that or no?
I guess it would, because you're targeting, looking for a vulnerable spot or something.
Alright, so I got 2 for the skill, 1 for that. I'll lose one. I'll lose the extra one I would have got because of my health pool. So just 3 dice.
Oh, another crit. Okay. Yeah, so it comes up, it comes over to say all these, it's just massive claws and stuff, and it's about to just like rip Aladdin into shreds. And then just, you drop the torch, the thing just like goes up in flames, the whole cavern is lit up, you can see its hideous, hairy bulk and hide. You can smell this kind of like dried, almost kind of fishy, fleshy sort of smell as it gets in close to you all. And you let loose with your arrow into the center of the mass. You let loose with your magical bolt into the center of the mass, and they come from either side of it. As it's just like the front of it is just like engulfed in flames, and the thing wheezes and cries and sounds like a dying donkey, just as it like falls over backwards and loses his grip and tumbles and splashes into the deep, cold, icy water below. There's a moment of calm and silence. And then there's just a thrashing of water as the thing rolls out from the water across the cave and just kind of like drags itself back into the cavern where it came from.
Before it can get too far, can I want to try to jump down on top of it and shapeshift into a bear.
Okay, just leap off the edge, transform into your bear mid-air and land on top of it, yeah. Sure,
Yeah.
I love it. Give me the roll. That's just enough, yeah. You just need a partial success. You leap into mid-air. Well, you can describe it to me. You're going to land on top of it and what?
Yeah, as soon as it jumps out of the water with the flames put out, Ellen just leaps off the cliff, and then midair he just starts folding in on himself, and then reappears as a bear and just starts thrashing the thing apart.
Sure, you
Just
land
ripping
top
and
it.
tearing at it.
Yeah, you land top it, just tear into it with your fangs and your claws, and the thing shrieks with pain. You're not even sure where the noise is coming from. There's no like obvious mouths or orifices on the thing, and you just tear into it. It's bloody mass and all this muscle and all this kind of black, oily kind of blood. You rip into the thing and you find like there's just this mess of organs and hearts and lungs and all the rest of it, and you just like gorge yourself onto it, and the thing just like dies with you like eating your way through it like a fucking parasite.
And then as soon as he's dead, Ellen just raises his head up and just lets out a loud roar. Because why not?
Yeah, I think I'll go into Overwatch at that point in case there's anything else. Like if there's more than one of these things.
Sure. Your eyes kind of like scan back and forth, entrance to entrance. You're looking back the way from where you came, listening out keenly. But as the creature dies and the roar of the bear echoes out through the tunnels, everything goes quiet again, and nothing moves, and there's no other sounds or movement. So you all took fatigues for your rolls. Colds for your rolls as well.
Fatigue and cold.
Yes, just the sound of the bear, like slopping, eating the flesh of the creature.
Get some of that creature there. We need it as evidence.
And does it have like a head or like a weird looking arm that's still intact?
Lots of limbs, yes. There's nothing that's like a head on it.
After I transform back, I just want to cut off as many of the hands are still intact as possible.
Sure, you transfer back, you're in the middle of it, drenched in this black blood. There's this sort of like kind of fishy smell to it.
Oh, disgusting.
While you're down there, go to check and see if there's anything in that pile of bones.
Yeah, I guess we'll set up the vote so you can climb back up, or I don't know, fly maybe. I don't know how that works.
See what treasure he finds first.
Well, yeah, yeah.
Okay, so you
Alright.
you do not have dungeoneering skill, correct, Eldon?
That's right. He just the only thing that related to looking for stuff or finding anything is Mage's Sight. So if anything's magical.
So you would get 1 dice normally, but you've got a health tick, correct? So you don't get any dice.
Yes. Yeah, so he's just sifting through the pile, just like no idea what he's looking for.
Okay, so roll me a d6. I'll be counting this as a d3. A 1 is a 1. So in amongst there, you find what you were looking for that glinted, and it is a small purse of coins, which is worth 1 treasure.
So is that a treasure for all three of us?
No, it's 1 tick of treasure on your thing.
Okay.
Better than nothing.
Trinkets. I mean, the chief in the village said, you know, trinkets in the cave is not worth your life.
Well, but at least we killed a monster. How many hands did it have left that I could cut off?
Oh, it's got like a dozen arms or something.
Alright, I just wanted 4 hands for my scarecrow. You guys can take the rest.
Oversized claws and clawed feet. Stinking of
And, you know,
dead fish and
just
dripping with black
basically-
blood. Just like
He's
stuck onto
basically
the
just
end
cutting
of
the
the stick.
arms off of the shoulder and just like tying them to the scarecrow. Like it's gonna do anything.
One is evidence for us, we might be able to get at least a week stay anyway at the place. You cover on health and whatnot.
I mean, that's the only treasure there. There's like, you know, trinkets, like a bone and wooden necklace, bits of clothing. There's like a bone knife, used for gutting fish and things like that. So there's like tools and clothing and personal belongings, and amongst there the skeletons as well. But the only thing that's like worth anything in terms of treasure was the purse of coin.
Is there anything that might have belonged to one of the 2 sons that disappeared, like 1 and 2 years ago?
So anything similar to the necklace you already have? Why didn't you give me a roll for that one? Is your scout or something?
Yeah, I got scout too, so I guess 2d6.
And you're sharp-eyed as well.
So 3d6.
No, I mean, you can say with a degree of certainty that they did not meet their end here. There doesn't seem to be anything similar to that.
I don't know, that's good news or bad news.
Good news in a sense. You can take some of these other trinkets and bring it back to the village though. Sort of evidence of things we found.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good idea. Just in case like there's like anything here that someone might find sentimental value in.
Exactly. Right, let ourselves play out this cave now then before anything else happens.
Yeah, I mean, you just climb back up the rope up the cliff, make your way back along the passageway to where you originally came in. It's a difficult climb getting out the crevasse that you came in originally. Who's going up first?
I guess I can't.
That's a good
Really
idea.
matter to me.
Yeah, you're about halfway up the rope, kind of just dangling midair, pulling yourself up, when again there's a tremor in the whole cave, the crevasse, the walls, the ice shakes quite violently this time, just for a second, a moment. and you can see a long crack form in one of the ice walls.
Oh dear,
Luckily,
sweet
I
baby
can move it
Jesus.
quickly. Let's move it quickly up here. Quickly. If not, there's
Sweet
something
baby
else down here.
Jesus.
Oh, so the
Sweet
knuckle
baby
wasn't
Jesus.
causing it; it was just taking advantage of it.
Potentially.
Potentially, or there was more than one of these things down here. We just pissed it off because we killed, his mate or his mother or his, baby or something.
Well, okay, so we'll head back to the village then, safe enough, and then we can sort ourselves out from there.
And get me away from here.
Who's the last one to climb the rope then, if Evander was the first?
Probably the person who can just pick the end of the rope up and fly up, so we don't lose the rope.
Okay, so you're not the last person to climb the rope then. So, Runic, do you want to give me a roll with something to determine how quickly you can climb? Probably your Dungeon Unit skill. Think. You there?
Oh, sorry, I've got the click button there. What you call a dungeon is at 1, so it'd be normally 2 dice, but we've got minus health 1. I don't know my traits, sharp eye would be work or not with it.
Your sharp eye would not. You take fatigue for making the roll, remember, but you could take an extra fatigue to get an extra dice.
Yeah, my fatigue's at.
Well, you should be marking every time you make a roll.
Yeah, I'll need to use at least a supply before I can. If not, I'll go into another health minus.
It's up
So-
to you.
I'll use supply then, so I don't go to health minuses. And I'll take the extra dice, so it'll be 2 dice.
You can do it. Yes, you just sort of like get to the top of the crevasse and your compatriots, or Evander, like grabs your wrist, your forearm, pulls you up over the lip, the edge of it. Is that massive crack? You can hear it just kind of like splitting, and a huge shelf of the ice just slides from the wall and crashes into the bottom of the cave. And your little bird friend comes like flying up with the end of the rope.
Well, that was
I was
close.
surprised.
You
I
people
was
thought
surprised.
coming down here would be a good idea.
Maybe we should warn the villagers that it's not safe down here.
I think they already know that.
Oh, that makes sense.
We'll head back, get a hearty pint. Let's go.
Right, so you're going to love the last journey roll you need to make back to the village.
Oh, great. Oh. You know what? I'm not at max fatigue because I haven't made that many rolls yet. So,
You can do it. Don't
Yeah.
fail us now.
One less for being treacherous, remember?
right.
You're not fresh, you're not repaired.
Right, so I got 3 for my skill. 1 for free. Lose 1 for being treacherous.
And then
Lose-
no other extra bonus ones.
Yeah, lose 1 because of my health. I'm down to 2 dice.
Okay.
I only have 2 fatigue, so I'll take an extra fatigue to push. I guess that'd be 3 fatigue
Okay.
and 3 dice. And 0 successes. But hey, I can level up now. I failed enough of those. I failed.
Okay, I mean, yeah.
Bad.
Okay, so that's you guys are going to take an extra fatigue for the journey.
All right, then I'll use a supply to restore fatigue.
And you'll take a cold. use exiting the death pass, the amount of all the blocks of ice, sort of lessening down to they're only the height of your knees, and you're just trying to watch so you don't trip over them, you don't get your foot stuck in them. And you're too busy kind of paying attention, Pathfinder, to not breaking your ankle on these blocks of ice or tripping somewhere, that you almost fail to notice the cave bear, which is awoken from its slumber, perhaps because of the tremors. And it is kind of just like lumbering across the terrain between you and the village. And clearly it catches like smell of you as it turns to face the three of you.
Oh, I'm sure it smelled the guy who's covered in, the fishy
Fish
blood
blood.
guts.
Sacrifice the
Yes.
scarecrow.
Dear sweet baby Jesus.
Alright. Has the bear attacked us, or is it being aggressive? Or is it just looking
Oh
at us?
yeah, it smells you. It does not like the smell of you, and it snarls and reels up on its hind legs. And it's a towering, massive creature, like 15 feet high on its hind legs.
I want to shapeshift into it.
God.
Oh, bear fight. Yeah, I remember this.
I'll,
Push it in the head first.
I have
I'll use
a
this.
Vandom skill.
Sorry.
I had the Vandom skill Vita too, because I thought I was gonna have a mount, and I never did get one. So I'm just gonna invite him into battle against the other bear. How about that?
Love it.
I'll use a supply to. I'm gonna use my last 2 supplies to restore 2 fatigue first.
Yep, so you gulp a couple of cans of spinach.
Yeah.
Oh, love it.
Okay, I turn into a super bear.
And do you want to roll your fighter with aid, Evander?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, I was gonna try to orate to the bear, just convince it that we're on a great and noble quest.
You know what? If he wants to do that,
No,
I'll let him
go
do
ahead.
that. No, and if you fail, I'll be ready with my fighter vol. How about that?
I think the bear would be more useful if we killed it. We need supplies.
You went to my thinking.
Okay, so fighter, with aid. Gotcha. Roll 3.
So what weapon is it you have, fighter?
I have both a sword and my magic. So
Okay, so you're charging in, sword drawn, waving around with your other hand clutching onto the mane of your friend bear.
yes.
Yeah, okay, so the two of you charge over to this thing and it like lands down on all fours and just roars at you as approaching. It starts running towards you all as well. You both leap into the air at the same time. And your human brain bear manages to kind of like duck down at the last second, and you're able to just kind of slash across its chest with your sword. But it's going to hit you, claw you at the same time, and you're going to take an injury.
Who, me or
Well,
Evander?
well, he made
I
the
think-
roll, so he would take it.
Yeah, I'll take the injury. I don't got any, so I'm okay with that. I'll take an injury.
But you manage to like slash across its chest, and it sort of like spins and lands on the ground and turns around and just roars in your direction again, and you land on your feet. So what do you want to do?
While it's roaring, I just want to stand up and just try to slash its lower jaw off. Just
Yep. Give me a roll. You can use a fighting skill if you got one, or
I just have shapeshift for
your
fighting.
shape shift for being the bear. Yeah.
Would me being a fighter aid him any at all?
I mean, I think if for what he's trying to do, that'd be a hindrance, if anything.
Okay,
Would calm
gotcha.
help me? Since I'm calm in this kind of situation.
To not be intimidated by its roar, sure, why not? Rolling all dice. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Wow.
Wow, indeed.
1 turned into 3.
Yeah, so it lets out a roar, and you just kind of like step up to it, completely unintimidated, and just smack it across the face with your claw, dislocating its lower jaw and causing it to just like howl in pain and anguish. It turns around and just kind of like meekly runs off in the opposite direction.
Should
I
we
want to
chase
shoot
it?
and kill it. I'm going to shoot and kill it before it gets away.
Okay, you can roll your hunter to shoot it. And
Got
sharp
archer
at
as
your
well.
archer or hunter, either of them.
I'll use Hunter because that's level 3 with sharp eye, so 4 dice minus 1. Plus the initial dust, so 4
The,
dice.
the difference between hunter is obviously when you're like going for game animals, which a bear would be. Yeah, you miss wildly, and the thing limps off into the distance unharmed. Well, it's harmed, but it runs off still alive.
I want that meat.
Should we chase after it?
I'll try to blast it with some bolt while you chase it. Yeah, why not?
All right, I'll start running after it while he's shooting it with magic.
Okay, let's get the magic roll.
Okay.
Yes, that's enough to successfully kill it, and because it's a full success, you didn't accidentally hit your friend bear.
That'd be bad. That'd be bad news bear.
That is bad. That was bad. Yes, that is enough to successfully put it down. Pure bear.
Oh, 15-foot bear. Just imagine all the meat. Ugh.
We just gotta now. I gotta let out a roar of conquest since we won.
Yeah, go ahead and do that. And veer up on your paws,
While you're still standing on my back.
Yeah, while I'm still standing on your
Yeah.
back, holding on for dear life. Yeah.
It's crazy. Yes,
Just back my head.
it's got a survivalist to butcher it.
Survive. Can I get a bonus from him being a hunter?
He can age, yes.
Or would hunter be better for butchering?
Survivalist.
Alright, so that's -1, then 2 for survivalist, and then another 1 for hunter baiting.
Sure.
I am at.
Quick, give him an extra bonus.
I'm at max supplies.
Roll me a 1d4. There's no way you're just going to get like one supply off it. Okay, so you get 3 supplies off it.
I also want to try to cut off its head to use for my scarecrow.
Oh, you can definitely.
We can skin it. We could
Nice
put your
scarecrow.
scarecrow and some that cave bear fur. Give it some clothes, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give you 3 supplies and a gear off of it. You can use
Alright,
the fur for gear.
Yeah, I want to use the gear to improve my scarecrow, make it more intimidating.
So it's a scarecrow draped in fur with like random claws sticking on the end of its sticks. And then
it's got
a bear,
giant
a
arms.
sloppy bear head put over the top of it.
And that's from a bear that was 15 feet tall. So
It's grossly oversized.
with just these really long, spindly monster arms.
This thing's hideous, man.
I'm just picturing pickled Rick sort of thing that converts the rat parts to.
Yes, yeah. Except
stick is
not
just
proportionate at all.
Well, and remember, I haven't cast reanimate again, so all the stuff is still dead. The scarecrow part's the only part that's alive.
And it's not got any articulated joints, so it's still just spinning, waving left and right, and they're just kind of flopping and spilling blood everywhere.
Yeah, I've got to recast reanimate on it, I think.
Oh my Jesus.
That's such a messed up thing.
This
And then you're covered in stinking black fish blood as well, just to complete the
Yeah.
picture.
I don't think we're gonna get that week out of this place. Your scarecrow might need to stay outside the town for a while.
Alright, then as we approach the town, I just, plant it in the ground right outside the town. Far enough away that if anyone looks at it, they'll see it, but no one will notice if they're not looking at it.
starts waving his guns, going. "Ah."
So this thing is kind of intimidating, planting it into the ground in front of the village.
When he said that, I thought about you plant your conquering flag,
Yeah.
But
I was
here's the
thinking
scarecrow instead.
I was thinking about the game The Forest, when the cannibal creatures have got all these body parts as totems.
Yeah.
It's my admittance that I'm the conqueror of Death Pass.
But yes, after that encounter, you're able to make your way to the village again. This time being during the day, you know, there's still smoke coming up from a couple of the houses, but most of them are out foraging, building, or hunting elsewhere. So there'll be a couple of people. One of them you recognise as the chief, just kind of like prepping the sleds, getting ready to head out.
I'll,
Got a few things here, Chief.
Is Eldon coming in, drinking the stinking fish blood?
yeah, he probably planned on trying to get like a basin in the village to wash with or something. He didn't want to go in the river.
No, you'd rather pollute the drinking supply. That's a much better idea.
No. If you get like a little copper tub, heat it up, heat some water up, put it in there. You can take a
Yeah,
little
just put
bath.
some snow in it.
Sure, okay. Yeah, I mean, I think everyone can smell you before they see you as well.
Just waving around one of the monster's arms as proof that we killed it.
Yeah, the genuine surprise, shock even, that you've came back from your planned excursion. I'm sure they all felt like you were going to fall to your death at some point and that'd be the end of you.
We greetings, citizens of Death Pass Town.
Pass village.
Oh, we feared you wouldn't make it back after that last tremor. We could feel it all the way here.
Yes, that might have been our fault. We found a monster deep beneath the ice after we heroically jumped down to search for any proof of its existence.
I can assume from the blood that you're drenched in that you were successful in slaying the creature.
Yes, we have conquered Death Pass, and the very ground trembled at our victory.
Well, we are extremely fortunate that you passed our way. As a creature that we never dared think that we could slay. Or indeed anyone could. Evil spirits such as that, we weren't sure that our weapons would even have effect against them.
Don't worry, if it ever comes back, we have the best weapon of all against it. Fire.
And they all kind of give each other side-eye looks for a second.
What he means is that fire works very well against it. In case it does come back and no one's around to help you.
Nod the head, like, oh yes, that makes perfect sense. There was a single one of these creatures?
That's all we encountered, at least.
Yes, after we heroically set the creature ablaze from a distance, we let loose a volley of magic and arrows.
Well, come inside while we stand in the cold. We must celebrate. This is a great day.
I guess we'll also be like handing them the trinkets and stuff that we found there, in case they.
Yeah, once you get inside. And they start, oh, I recognise this. This is my son Herbert's. He's one of the sons we lost 2 seasons ago.
Well, if his belongings are amongst those trinkets, he's probably gonna stay gone.
Did you find his remains, or was it just the trinkets you discovered?
There was a lot of bones. His might have been there. It might have been scattered somewhere else.
Alas, it's our misfortune that there were too many bodies to recover them all.
Perhaps we should make an excursion ourselves when the weather is better and attempt to retrieve them, so we bury them. If you believe that it's safe now.
Well, we made a lot of back and only the one came. I don't think there's any other ones nearby. We can draw you a map to where we entered the cavern at.
Yes, it'd be most helpful. We will need to consider this, obviously, but Thank you for bringing these, and thank you for slaying this creature that's terrorized us for so long. It should also make trade next year easier if we do not have to worry about people disappearing into the ice.
I still think watch out for the tremors and random things happening. But yeah, at least there won't be no creature.
So they'll offer you accommodation and rest and food and such. They'll break out the ale they made for you to drink just now. Help tend your injuries and stuff. And they will let you stay the week that you need to stay in order to heal properly.
Thank
Yes, we get our health back.
Can I try to convince them to lend us some supplies for the rest of our journey?
Oh, you got to push it. No, so you're orator. You can attempt that. Yes.
I don't think Calm wouldn't help for this, would it?
I don't think Cam would know. Cam's going to be more useful when you're like in the face of danger. They can give you some supplies or gear. They're not going to give you like a full restock. Because you are going to get you're going to get like fed and all that while you're there for free.
Yeah. What would should I roll like a d4 to see how much we each get back? Or how much we get all back all together?
Yeah, give me a d4. Yeah, you can choose to have it as 4 supplies or 4 gear.
What do you guys think? Supplies more?
Well, I'm at full
Gear?
supplies negative just now, so
Yeah, I'm also at full supplies right now.
So 4? So, okay.
Everyone
supplies then?
So everyone gets 4 supplies back.
maybe it's better we're fresh when we go for our journey then, if we got full supplies and everything. I think we need these successful dice rolls for our next travel.
Your fatigue,
No offense.
your injury, and your
I put
stress.
my level up.
So your fatigue, injury, stress, and cold should all be cleared now as well because you're staying there for a week.
Yeah, don't worry. I put my level up into Pathfinder.
Okay.
Maybe another extra dice might help. I don't know.
And I'll use that treasure to clear one of my debt then.
Yeah, 1 dead.
I'll definitely need more treasure soon. I've only got 1 debt left.
I mean, I'm debating if it should be like the gear and supplies, like 1 treasure restores all your debt. But I don't know if that'd be too easy. But then again, you've only came across 1 treasure so far.
Well, but then again,
Yeah.
wouldn't some things be worth more than 1 treasure? Like if we find like a magic sword or something?
Yeah, I mean, that's why when you do the roll for the treasure hunting, you can find more than 1 treasure. I've got like a treasure table you roll on. So I mean, if you find treasure and it was like 3 treasure worth, it could be 1 item that's more valuable or several items that add up to be more valuable.
And then if treasure gets full, it just means we can't carry any more treasure.
I don't think any of our travel will, like all 3 of us. I doubt it'll ever get.
Yeah,
full.
I don't think you're going to fill up your treasure. I was thinking if you had filled up your
last in this
treasure,
one.
because it's like this in one of my other games, you could maybe just like retire the character because they now have enough treasure just to go off and live a comfortable life. But it just depends.
I think wouldn't that depend on if they have any debt left or not?
Yeah, obviously. So you'd have to clear all your debt and fill your treasure, which is a tall order.
Too bad none of our characters are thieves.
Nope, that's not this campaign.
No, that's every other campaign user.
It's every other, and it doesn't seem to pay off for me. So I'm not sure being a thief would work out too well.
Carries its own risks.
I don't know. My thief character got really rich, but then he turned it into a dragon, so I don't think that counts.
He melted it down to dragon. I think that's probably a good spot to call it for this week then. 'Cause you'll be doing another journey and stuff when you set off again.
Yeah, with how I've been rolling, I don't know if we want to roll the journey on this day.
Wait until it balances itself out again.
But at least I got you guys a lot of experience, you know.
Should
Yeah,
I
think
roll
I'm
now
looking at
from?
level up again?
Should I roll now to make my scarecrow better, or should I do that after we come back next time?
Let's do the start of the next one, because then your all rules are kind of held together. Is everyone's clock so cleared now then, I take it? Because we cleared all the status clocks.
Yeah, but all one's clear but dead, of course.
Yeah,
Everything
yeah.
else is clear.
Yeah, my
Other than a
dead's at
couple
4,
of gear.
and then I have 2 supplies and 2 gear ticks.
What's yours think?
I've got 2 gear negatives and I've got 5 debt.
5 debt, okay. Yes, you want some treasure. But you're
Just to
pretty
survive.
but you're pretty good to go.
Aye, they're excellent. I was going to say, who's not had the second trait yet? Or someone who's not done their story yet? I was going to say if you want to do that as their sort of.
Yeah, we could
final
finish
bit.
off with somebody doing a telltale.
That'd be me. I had one.
So if you want to use Evander, will you just spending your week here?
I had a different one, but then I failed all these rolls, so I came up with a new one.
Okay.
And it's why do you go on? And it's out of spite. So like, my whole life, it seems like the world's been out against me. You know, my boat fills up with water when we run into trouble. The world open up and swallows me when I was a young kid. You know, parents died, had to fend for myself. That's why I'm kind of a jack of all trades instead of being good at one thing. And the only reason I go on is because the world's trying to fuck me, so I'm trying to fuck it back by staying alive.
I love it.
So why do I go on? Out of spite. Out of spite for the world. Fuck the world. That's why I go on.
You're not going to kill me, you son of a bitch. I'm going to take you
Yes.
with me.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. Like I ain't going out like no bitch.
Your heavy rock metal track going in the background for that one.
I was gonna take bitter as my trait, but then this guy beat me to it, so now I gotta think of a different one.
I mean, you
Pyromaniac.
could take bitter as well. That's very fitting for that.
How about jaded?
That's what I was thinking. Jaded instead.
Also works, yeah.
Since he took bitter, I was like, what else could I take? There was jaded and there was loner, so I think I'm gonna take jaded.
Such a happy group we have.
Well,
Yeah,
I was gonna have a happy backstory. Then I failed a bunch of journey rolls, and the world opened up and swallowed me. And I was like, I gotta do something different now.
My guy's pretty good. He's a pretty happy person.
Yeah, I like the idea as well. Because I mean, I said before, the challenge of GM is you're not learning about the characters until you're into the game already. But it's really interesting because, like that, you know, the situations your character meets helps shape what that character actually is. Whereas usually you come in with a preconceived idea, and then I think a lot of time you just don't really get to do much with those ideas for the character's background and stuff. Do you know what I mean? Because it's not fitting to the way the game ends up going, you know?
Right.
Whereas this one, you're kind of shaping the character around the game instead of trying to make him like fit into what the game is.
I think that's what worked quite well when the first game session we did with it all.
Yeah.
I mean, because I didn't really have much of a character development at the time when doing it all, and then it just sort of like flushed itself out as we played on.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's particularly good if you don't really have a strong idea or inclination of what you want the character to be like. You can kind of just explore and find the character within the story as you're playing it. But yeah, that was good. I was quite enjoyed that one.
I don't know. I think I feel kind of strange. Like my character's going in a completely different direction.
What are you talking about? It sounds just like the last character you had when we played this. transforming bear.
Yeah, but now he's transforming, but he's also creating this horrible abominations.
Oh yeah, I mean yeah, you're going down a dark. You're going down a dark path there. I don't know where that's going.
I wanted to put a tuxedo on it, but then he's like, "I'm gonna put these monster claws on it and
Yeah.
the bear head." And I was like,
He's
"Okay."
he was like,
Then
no.
with the tuxedo.
So I was going to make him a smart dress scarecrow, but no, you want a flesh golem.
Pretty much. I was
We
like,
can
okay.
still here. We'll give it a We'll give it a tuxedo on top of all that.
No, I want the top hat on top of the bear head now. He's got to have a top hat on top of the bear
Of
head.
course,
of course.
that's even more terrifying. A flesh golem zombie bear with a top hat. And a monocle if you can find one.
Yes,
Then we've got to find a ghost to possess it so we can talk.
Jesus Christ.
I think before we leave this village, we're gonna see if we can't have someone make us a top hat.
Good
We have
God.
enough bear fur.
Yeah, you could definitely try and get someone to fashion something for you. Jesus Christ. I liked, because the last time I felt it was good, but because we didn't do any actual journeying, and I feel like that's a lot of the core of the kind of game system. So I was glad this time we had lots of journeys in there. And they weren't all just plain success ones.
Oh no, they were not successes.
Because the plain
Well,
success one's like good for the players, but it also it's kind of like, oh, right, the journey just nothing really happens. Which is realistic in a sense, but it's more interesting when
Yeah.
something goes wrong.
It's either
Well-
nothing goes wrong or everything goes wrong.
Well, last time I didn't get to do the Pathfinder roles, but I had the lost trait, and so like, I wish I had the lost trait this time because I failed every single journey roll.
Oh god, yeah.
So like every time we failed, I'd have got lost. We'd have been like way off track.
Yeah. Could have been anywhere by now.
Even though you've already put like 2 of your main skills are looking for stuff.
Yeah, pretty much.
Do you feel like you are marking off enough stuff that you're kind of concerned? Or is it feeling it's too easy, you're just kind of walking it?
Oh, I'm concerned. I was really close to getting a second health tick mark before we made it back. I was really worried
Yeah.
that I would get 2 health ticks in one session. So that's how close I was to that.
My
I
supplies
got-
were almost full. I almost got full fatigue also.
I know barely at this, even just at the very start there, we literally all lost like a 1 health thing, and then you could instantly feel it when you're doing your rolls. Like, we're gonna die here. This just takes 1 second. We're gonna die.
Well, I mean, I'm just thinking back to when we played the last one. You had like 3 health ticks and stuff, and it was impossible at that point to make a roll.
Well, I think last time we also didn't get enough levels, and we weren't like specializing. Like we were all getting like I think I had like 2 extra new skills I got when I leveled up instead
Yeah.
of putting it into something that was already there.
Yeah. I bet
So this time this time I put it into Pathfinder immediately. So, like,
yeah, there's a better kind of distribution because we know strength and weaknesses, composition. Cool. Yeah, I mean that's what I want. Like if every session you're just like, fuck, this is bad, but then at the end you just kind of eke it out. That's exactly the kind of level you want things at.
Right, because I thought I was like, fuck, we're gonna have 2 health ticks before we even make it back to the town. So then we get 1 week, so that's 1 health tick gone. But then we start off next week
Yeah.
with 1 health tick. I was like, fuck.
Two steps forward, 1 step back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah,
1
as
forward
soon as
to the
like you said the bear was up there, I was like, oh glad I'm gonna hit a health, I'm gonna hit another health tick.
Yeah, I mean your deck could max out and you do hit another health tick, so someone comes and
Well,
beats you up. Man.
couldn't you fight off the assassins or the muggers or whatever?
Well, I think that would be more like a mental stress then. Like even if he fought him off, he still knows that they're after him. You know. So
Yeah,
that'd be
and so
like
it's like then your
kinda-
reputation's tarred. So any of the villages you show up to, they're going to be like, "There's that bastard that doesn't pay his bills."
So it may not be
And
like a
very
physical.
distinguished. He's got goat legs.
Yeah, I mean the health thing isn't necessary. I mean, injury is like physical injuries, so the health isn't necessarily like your physical health. It's mental health, your reputation, your ability to survive in this environment. Because if you're like shunned and outcast and on your own in the middle of,
Makes it so much harder. to
yeah,
survive.
it's going to be so much more difficult for you to live,
I just turn into a bird and go live in the forest.
and then get eaten by an eagle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're eaten by something bigger. Yeah.
When you were saying turning into a bird, I just kept imagining a little robin.
Yeah, forest animals. Thinks it makes sense to live in a forest.
I was just thinking, well, if you go into like that kind of environment, It's either going to be like a big eagle or it's going to be some wee tiny bird. But yeah, this was good. I like this one.
Well, but at least now he can transform into a 15-foot tall cave bear.
And I can ride you in a battle.
Just picturing
I mean,
that little.
yeah, I mean, you could, yeah, you could say something about how it's always the same animals, man, but there's something incredibly appealing about someone riding a bear into battle.
Especially in like a frozen wasteland.
Yeah, it's the whole reason why you do it in that environment, that setting, is so you can have that shit. It's either going to be that or like a giant elk, reindeer type creature.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that one would be cool too.
Yeah, but he doesn't have a red cloak. It wouldn't work.
Yeah, and he hasn't met one of those yet either. Yeah.
Picture him at a moment having like a musician in the background who's orating the story as I transformed to a bear and I rode on my back.
But orator is, yeah, like I said, he's given like dramatic storytelling, like a stage actor on play.
And now I can use my scarecrow as a prop to show the
Jesus
monster I'm
Christ.
fighting.
Oh yeah, so now that thing could be like the multi-limb monster we
It's
just
the
killed.
bear,
'cause
yeah.
he literally put all the limbs on it from the fucking monstrosity.
Jesus Christ.
Well, it's a 4-armed bear on a stick.
Oh Jesus.
I give you an inch with the fucking reanimated scarecrow, and this is what we get.
Hey, at least I haven't reanimated a house or anything.
Well, you tried. You tried.
I just want a Baba Yaga hut, just a house with legs.
I was thinking, I was
do it on boats.
I mean, I was thinking it would be like snowmen, or like a statue or something. But no, he's going to do like houses and scarecrows.
You gave me too much leeway when you said anything that was constructed.
I think just having you in the game is giving you too much leeway. But no, it's great. I love it. All right, guys, I'm going to get going. I'll catch you next week.
Alright, see you guys
Catch
next
you
week.
after.
Later.